ice. They were spectacular last night with Peter Nedved back in the action.
He didn't score goals. He passes the puck.
Did everything else.
And that is exactly what Peter Anholt likes to have him do. That's our pregame show. We'll be back with the opening period face-off right after this.
2 minutes, Jeff.
By the Tri-City American Zone, Jamie Powell.
It'll be Steve Rennie and Victor Gervais on the face-off. Derek Blasky, the referee. The linesmen are Tom Cowell and Lonnie Cameron. Puck shot into the Tri-City zone. Barnes playing defense. He's teamed with Jakes tonight. Behind the net, Barnes outlet pass goes left to Jason Bowen. Bowen up the left wing boards. He's taken off and buried by Darcy Simon. Puck goes into the Seattle zone. Big hit by Nibbs. Puck back out to the right point. Shot from the point by Jakes. And it'll be picked up by the T-Birds up the right wing boards. We get a whistle behind the play. High sticking the call.
Stuart Malgunas going to the penalty box first as the Tri-City Americans get their first opportunity on the power play. Number 6, Malgunas, high sticking 2 minutes. And Kirk, this is just what the Americans needed.
Well, this is a mirror image, Tony, of last night's game in Seattle, in which the Americans went nuts right in the first minute of the game. Face-off will come in the neutral zone, just on the Seattle side of the center line. It will be Degner with Levens and Lindsay. At the points, Dirksen and Farrell. For Seattle, Goodall and Gervais with Bow and Bilodeau. Puck's bounced around, picked up by the Americans. Farrell with it to Dirksen. Back to Farrell off the right wing boards. Ahead now to Degner. Degner bangs it off a skate through the middle, picked up by Dirksen, and dumped in left of the Seattle net. Lorenz will leave it. Beside the net, loose puck. Lorenz trapped out of the net, but he gets it around to Bilodeau. Racing after it, the Americans, Degner. Now Dirksen jumps on it. They try to work it out to Lindsay. Dirksen from the left hash mark. Goes down low to Levens. Levens walks in, goes behind the net. Tries to throw it out front. He's in traffic, gets to Lindsay. And the Thunderbirds clear it out of the zone. Dirksen will race back into his own zone to get it. Kolzig will leave it for Dirksen. It's Kolzig against Lorenz. Kolzig playing very well for the Americans for a period and a half last night. Then the floodgates open. Degner bangs the puck off the glass, trying to keep it into the Seattle zone. Back to Degner. Degner picks it up, left circle, fires it in beside the net. Kozlowski holding Lindsay up, and the puck comes up to the right point. Quick shot by Barnes as Lorenz was out, but it hit a body up front. And the Thunderbirds have it, Vince Bow. Bow stepping up the middle, feeds it off to the left side. Minute to go in the power play. Barnes goes back to pick up the puck. Stu Barnes back in his own zone now. Looks things over. He'll trigger the breakout as Chapman goes back to look him over. Kolzig bats Chapman with that big heavy stick, And the puck comes up the left wing. Farrell with it. Drives it through the middle. Poked away by Bilodeau. And back into the Tri-City zone. Barnes wheels. He'll bring it up. Stu Barnes straight up the middle. Beats Gervais to the left side. Feathers it into the Seattle zone. 25 seconds to go. Lorenz with the puck. Tries to fire it out. Comes up to the right point. Jakes slams it right off of McNutt's skate. And they're back into the neutral zone. Barnes being worked on by Gervais. Barnes through the middle. Tried to find Reeves. Simon there. Or Kevin Malgunas, rather. And it's dumped back into the Tri-City zone. Now they play it off the wall to Spenrath. Power play's over in 3 seconds. They head to Barnes. 2-1 shot. Barnes saved Lorenz. Puck comes off the wall. Banged away from McNutt. Barnes with it. Drives it down low to McNutt. Steve McNutt. Tied up by Vince Bowe. McNutt and Bowe scramble for the puck to get to Reeves. Left in that. Reeves blocked in. Shoots. Loose puck out front. Barnes shoots into the crowd. Saves Lorenz. And Lorenz ties up the puck.
Tri-City Americans getting only one shot on Danny Lorenz in that entire power play. The T-Birds now successful in killing off that extra man for the Americans. The Americans coming up in this series, Kirk, a real strong point and a real sore spot, I guess, for Coach Rick Kozubak, is the Americans' power play only 6 for 35, 18%, almost half of what they did during the regular season.
Well, of course, remember the Americans playing without Brian Sakic, who has 150 points on the year, and a good number of those are power play points, either goals or assists. In behind the net goes Stu Malgunas in his own zone. To Kaniski in the right circle, tied up by Lindsay and Levens. And we got the whistle. They'll freeze the puck in the Seattle zone. Big sign down there behind Danny Lorenz that came up just as the national anthem was being sung. That said, dump Danny on his fanny. Of course, they made sure that he was watching right there. Face off, right circle, Tri-City zone. Or Seattle zone, rather. Degger with it, in front of the net. Shot, Lindsay scores! Billy Lindsay! No Lindsay, and we'll have to wait and get the assist for you.
Assist will be handed out to Terry Degner and Scott Levens, I believe. Terry Degner centering the pass out in front. Actually, Levens trying to put the wood down on it, can't get to it. Lindsay right there to pick it up and put the biscuit in the basket. The Americans jump out on top. Only the second time they've been able to take the lead. First stop, and when they did that, they won 4-0 last time they played here. They take the lead tonight, 1-0.
Tony, this game has started as an exact mirror image of last night's game at Seattle. The Americans all have evil twins, that's obvious, and they all show up at the same time. Loring up the right wing boards, gets it ahead of Gervais. Loring goes down. Puck shot through the middle. Kevin Malgunas keeping the play. Gervais right side. Tri-City zone, picked up the blue line. Kevin drives it in right of the net. Picked up. They get it ahead to Loring. Loring losing it to Bowe. Loring and Gervais go after it. And the Thunderbirds trying to control it in the Tri-City zone. Now Bowe drives it in beside the net. Zavisha has it poked away by Kolzig, and the Americans drive it out of the zone. Back into the Seattle zone. Bilodeau goes after it. Gets the touch icing call. 16:25 to play first period. Back after this on this AM 1340. Cable 15 simulcast. Dumps it into the corner right. The Americans with it. Here comes McNutt. McNutt up the left wing. Nedved hooks McNutt, but no whistle. Play continues. Lorenz behind the net. Danny Lorenz dumps it out into the right circle. Bowen goes after it. 16-year-old Jason Bowen tied up there with Nedved and Darcy Simon. And we got the whistle. They'll stop play and face it off in the right circle of the Seattle zone.
Seattle Thunderbirds using the stick quite a bit early as they've gotten it high several times in neutral ice area, doing a lot of hook checking, a lot of poke checking. The Americans getting around that, and that is what they need to do. Remember,
well, they need to skate through it instead of turn around and put the lumber to somebody, which is what was going on last night.
That's right. No retaliation. Use disciplined hockey. Play good, solid hockey tonight, and they'll come out with a victory.
McNutt wins the draw. Jakes a shot missed to the long side. Off the wall to Barnes. Barnes keeps it in to Spenrath. That's the hash mark left. Bang back along the wall. Picked up by Vallis. Vallis to Nedved. Vallis tied up by Barnes, but Nedved with a puck. Peter Nedved being chopped at by Spenrath. Gets it ahead to Malgunas, and we got a whistle behind the play.
Referee Derek Glosky calling the slashing penalty against the assistant captain of the Tri-City Americans. A roughing call, actually, will be assessed against Spenrath.
Actually, he was not going to get whistled. for just chopping on Nedved's stick. He got whistled for poking Nedved against the glass after. 4-13 the time of the penalty. Remember, in hockey, they count everything backwards.
That's what Peter Nedved does so well. He brushes off checks very nicely, and he can get in there and he can cause a lot of hate and discontent for opposing teams out there.
I was in their dressing room the other day. Peter Nedved is wiry strong. He's not particularly muscular, but he's you describe him as having swimmer strength. Puck comes off the wall as comes back up front. Kozlowski tried to get it to Vallis. Vallis, blue line. Drops it in the slot. Goes left to Nedved. Nedved shot missed to the short side. Barnes slapping it around off the wall to McNutt. Whoop, McNutt fanned on it. In beside the net. Goodall into the slot, but Nibbs is there. Nibbs for the Americans around behind the net. Calvin Nibbs bangs it out into the neutral zone. Picked up by Rennie. Rennie with it. In traffic. Rennie being worked over by Nedved and Malgunas. They get it back into the Seattle zone with the T-Birds wheel. Here comes Nedved. Nedved taken off, but he leaves the puck for Stu Malgunas. Puck fired into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig will leave it for Barnes. Barnes rips it the length of the ice as a Seattle power play so far yet to test Ole Kolzig. Thunderbirds behind the net. Nedved under pressure from Rennie. Rennie and Nibbs go after the puck. Picked up by Kozlowski. Kozlowski with it. Goes right to Glenn Goodall. Goodall to Vallis, and we get an offside as Goodall goes in ahead of Vallis' pass.
Tri-City Americans unable to really do anything as far as the penalty killing against the Seattle Thunderbirds over this series. 17:57 is the numbers. That's 29.75% for Seattle on the power play. Last night, 5 for 14.
Yep. 5 for 14. That's only 36%. Puck back into the Seattle zone. Picked up by Zavesha. Zavesha finds Vince Bowe. Bowe up the middle, goes to the right side. Bilodeau. Bilodeau, right point. Dumps it into the corner. Around Scherstanka. Back for it is Sandwith. Grant Sandwith takes a big hit there. Gervais dumping Scherstanka. Loose puck behind the Americans' net. Sandwith goes in hard on Turner Stevenson. Stevenson is big, and he can muscle the puck, but it comes off to Lindsay. Lindsay makes the board pass to get around Bilodeau. Scherstanka walks in. Lindsay shot. Right up over the net. Scherstanka, right circle. He's tied up, but Lindsay gets it in the corner. 20 seconds left in the power play for Seattle. Thunderbirds turn. They'll bring it up. Here comes Bowe as they race up the wall. Bowe up the middle. Whoop. Everybody was offside there. Stevenson pushed Gervais offside. And as a result, they'll face it off just outside the Tri-Cities blue line. 11 seconds left in the penalty to Spenrad.
That's what happens when the Tri-City Americans penalty killing unit is really at its best. They can force teams into making mistakes. Right there you saw it. They came in on the rush. They were disorganized, got over the blue line before the puck did. Offside, bring it outside the American blue line for the faceoff.
Goodall on Levens on the faceoff just outside the American blue line. Levens wins the draw, but Simon is there for Seattle. Goes left to Malgunas. Quick shot, save, Kolzig. Jakes with it. And Jake fires it back into the Seattle zone. 1 second left in the power play. Lindsay racing it on Lorenz. Lindsay hits Kaniski. Puck goes behind the net. Simon. Darcy Simon in traffic. Lined up by Levens. Big hit there. Loose puck comes off to Kevin Malgunas. Malgunas and Goodall. 2-on-3. Goodall. Poke checked away from him by Barnes. Picked up by Bowen. Bowen finding Levens. They break across the blue line. Backhand pass Bowen from Levens. Neat pass, but Bowen couldn't handle it. Puck goes into the corner. Right in the net. Levens goes down. All over. Looked like Al Kaniski. Nope. Stu Malgunas. Malgunas and brother Kevin from Prince George. Stuart, 19 years old. Brother Kevin, an 18-year-old. Believe me, Stu Malgunas will be a draft pick this year.
Great play by Scott Levens, Jason Bowen, as they weaved across the line, came into the zone, gained the line. Nice between the leg pass by Scott Levens. Jason Bowen taking it down hard into the right corner. He's corralled down there as well. They fall on top of it, freeze the puck. They bring it out to the right circle if you're looking on from center ice.
McNutt and Kozlowski on the faceoff. Kozlowski, of course, member of the Memorial Cup champion Swift Current Broncos last year. Puck comes to Bilodeau. He loses it to Loring. McNutt jumps on him. Off to the right side. They get it by Farrell. Foot race. Kozlowski, but Sandwith is there to drive it back towards the Seattle blue line. Thunderbirds recover the puck. Back to Sandwith now at his own blue line. He tried to find Dirksen. Nope, Vallis there. Ballas goes left. Kozowski, that hits Sandwith. And Loring will have the puck out to the neutral zone for McNutt. McNutt with it. Steve McNutt will go back to his own zone to reset the rush. Up through the middle, whoop, right to Brent Bilodeau. Bilodeau driving it in right of the Tri-Cities net, picked up by Trans Sandwith. Sandwith starts out with Ballas in pursuit. Up the right side now finds McNutt to Dirksen. Dirksen red line, and he shoots it in left of the Seattle net. Malgunas, leg collaborative. Brad Loring, big hit on Stu Malgunas. Loose puck, right of the net. As Dirksen tries to tie up his man, but the puck's kicked loose now to Malgunas. Malgunas to Ballas. Brad Loring wearing the sonar tonight. Good shot from the right side. And Kolzik gloves it. Now slaps it around to the right point. Simon a drive to the left side. Off the wall to Nibbs. Nibbs slapping it back into the neutral zone. May have enough legs for the icing call. Rolls across the goal line. Malgunas is there and gets the touch icing call. 11:59 to go in the first period. 1-0 Americans back after this on this Cable 15 KTCR simulcast. Face-off will come in the left circle, Tri-City zone. That's Kolzik's stick side. Face-off won by the T-Birds. Bow. Quick shot behind the net. Comes off to Calvin Nibbs. Nibbs will try the left wing boards. Nibbs gets a nice pick from Rennie, who puts the lumber to Zavisha. Puck goes into the corner. Bow after it. Tries to work it out. Maybe cut down by Virtue. Nope. Justenka slapping it off the glass, and it goes out of play into the Seattle bench.
Season ticket holders for the 1990-91 hockey season, they go on sale April 9th through May 18th to the current season ticket holders, May 28th through June 13th. And those for current season ticket holders to purchase additional tickets or change location. June 18th, they go on sale to the general public. Get more information from the Coliseum box office.
783-9999. Puck in behind the Seattle net. Vince Bow steps up the middle. Bow looks right, goes right to Gervais. Nope, comes off to Kevin Malgunas. He sweeps it into the Tri-City zone. Kolzik will leave it behind the net for Virtue. Virtue back to Bowen. Bowen with it. Up the wall. Tried to find Rennie. Does get to Rennie as Bowen sidesteps the on-rushing Seattle player. Now Nibbs, quick shot save. Lorenz. Loose puck in the slot. No, they throw it back out to the neutral zone. And Virtue just upended Victor Gervais. The Americans take it back. Now Bowen up the left wing. Bowen chases it into the corner. Big hit on Bowen by Bilodeau. That was a serious collision back there. Loose puck in the slot. Nope, Rennie couldn't get anything done with it. Bowen and Bilodeau trade slashes beside the net. Now it comes off to Goodall. Goodall lined up by Nibbs. He loses the puck. But it's picked up there by Kevin Barrett. Back into the Tri-City zone, onto the stick with Stu Barnes. Barnes finds Lindsay up the middle. Lindsay with it. Whoop, couldn't quite get back to it as Bilodeau tied him up. Now Levens with it, has to leave it for Jakes. Puck tied up along the wall. Who has it? Scotty Levens. Levens losing it there to Goodall. Goodall with it, rips a pass through the middle right side, Kiniski. Barnes trying to tie up Kiniski. Kiniski beats him. Goes into the slot. Goodall shot save. Kolzik. Goodall, second shot. Goodall goes to the wall. Penalty coming against. Interference will be the call. That's pretty much got to be against the Americans. Right there beside the Americans' net.
And they may be whistling Steve Jakes for the interference call down there, as that is who it looks like will be visiting the bench. Steve Jakes, captain tonight, wearing the captain's C on the sweater. Power play number 2 for the Seattle Thunderbirds. They are 0 for 1 so far this evening. Man advantage once again for the T-Birds.
Well, there's another creative sign down there in Section F. Holy moly, do we have a goalie? Folks, I want you to understand clearly, I do not write this stuff. I just read it. Face-off left circle in the Tri-City zone. I'm not nearly that creative.
That's good stuff, though. That's some good stuff here.
Holy moly. Good, nice. Puck back up into the left point now in the Tri-City zone. Goodall with it, starts into the slot, gets around Rennie. Goodall right side shot, save Kolzik. Into the corner, Justenka and Goodall. Back off the wall to Malgunas, up to Goodall on the right point. Glenn Goodall. Seattle power play underway. Goes right to Kozowski. Kozowski out front to Goodall, left to Nedved. Nedved, left circle shot, scored. Redirected by Vic Gervais, right in front of the net.
Vic Gervais weaving right through the high slot area, coming right in on Ole Kolzik from his left to his right. and he went straight across as Peter Nedved just did the nice wrist shot over in the left circle. It was about a foot and a half off the ice, and there was Vic Gervais to put the stick on it, deflect it up over the top of Ole Kolzig into the back of the net. Power play goal for the Seattle Thunderbirds, and they have tied it up at 1 apiece.
Time of the goal, 10:18. Gervais from Nedved, and I think maybe Goodall. McNutt and Gervais on the faceoff. Gervais wins it. Penrath losing his stick. Puck shot through the middle. Puck goes in behind the Americans' net. It's a 1-1 tie. Bilodeau firing the puck down around the dasher board. Comes off to Sandwith. Lined up by Zavisha. Big hit on Sandwith by Zavisha. Now McNutt picks it up behind the net. McNutt along the right wing boards to Reeves. Reeves gets hit. Bilodeau takes a shot. That one hits Sandwith in the skates. Why is the clock continuing to count off a power play? Who knows? Puck goes in behind the Seattle net. Out to McNutt, but the Americans are at full strength. McNutt for Jakes at the right hash mark, Seattle zone. They try to dig it loose, and we get the whistle as it's frozen there.
That was Seattle's 18th power play on their 59th attempt. And taking a look, Kirk went back through and took a look. That is the third power play goal that Seattle has scored while Steve Jakes has been in the box. It adds up. And this Seattle team, they take advantages of the mistakes, and they have done this all series long. That has been the key so far. 17 goal, actually a 19-goal difference coming into tonight's action, and 17 of them have been on the power play.
Face off right circle in the Seattle zone. T-Birds to Malgunas behind the net. Drives a pass up the middle for Craig Chapman. Chapman being worked over by Dirksen. Taken against the wall. Jakes with a loose puck. No, Vallis takes it away. Vallis into the Tri-City zone. Barnes will have it. Lindsay Vallis, first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens. Barnes, first-round pick of the Winnipeg Jets. Jakes up through the middle. Gets by everybody. Lorenz will just leave it. Nope, drives it up to the neutral zone. And Jakes has it. Fires it off at Dirksen's ankle. Back into the Tri-City zone. Barnes behind the net. Now he'll leave it for Jakes in the corner, but Vallis is all over Jakes. The Americans having a terrible time breaking out of their own zone. Now Lindsay back to get it. Nope, Lindsay overskates it. Throws it out in the middle for Jakes. And Jakes will bring it up. Goes left to Dirksen. Shift change coming for the Americans as Lindsay and Stu Malgunas go behind the net. Malgunas rips it right back the length of the ice. It'll be icing when Sherstanka gets back to touch it. Danny Sherstanka puts the lumber to it. A 1-1 tie. We'll be back on this AM 1340 Cable 15 simulcast. On the faceoff, puck controlled by the Seattle Thunderbirds. Lindsay trying to take it away. Knocked off of his stick to Stevenson, and Kaniski drives it into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig leaving it behind the net, ripping it out along the wall to Lindsay. Lindsay across the blue line, offside Seattle. Nope, delayed offside coming. The Americans clear the zone. No offside penalty. Lindsay driving it in left of the Seattle net. Bilodeau without a stick. Bo behind the net. Bo takes it around to Al Kaniski. Kaniski drives it out back into the Tri-City zone. He drove it right under Terry Virtue. Icing coming as Sandwith goes back to touch. With icing the call back in 30 seconds on this KTCR Cable 15 simulcast. Back into the neutral zone on the faceoff. Picked up by Gervais. Drives it in right of the net. In the Tri-City zone. Bowen goes in hard. Big hit by Bowen and Gervais. But the Americans control the puck. Rennie through the middle. Steve Rennie dumps it in. Hits the glass. Goes into the Seattle zone. Darcy Simon goes back for it. Bowen lines up Simon. Simon makes the pass out the right side to Kevin Malgunas. Chopped off his stick to the Zavisha. Zavisha dumping it into the Tri-City zone. Back for it, Farrell. Shift change, Seattle. This is the Vallis line with Kozowski. As the Americans bring it up through the middle, they find Nibbs. Nibbs tied up by Nedved. Puck shot to the right side, Kozowski. Has Vallis going down the slot. Kozowski shot, save Kolzig. Comes off to Bilodeau. Nedved also on that line. Puck goes to the right side, back to the neutral zone. Big shot from way out front beside the net, Bo. And Kolzig will just stop it as it comes back off the glass. Vallis gets a shot from Kolzig as he goes by. Breakaway pass intended by Barnes. Back into the Seattle zone. Down goes Loring. And icing the call as the puck goes into the Seattle zone. 5:56 to play. 1-1 tie back after this. He hasn't made any fans here in the last month. Back at Tri-Cities Coliseum, face-off right circle in the Tri-Cities zone. It's McNutt and Kozlowski. McNutt winning the draw to Barnes. But Kozlowski controls puck along the wall. Shot save, Kolzig picked up off of Nedved, stick by Spenrath, and Spenrath starts out of the right circle. Drives it up along the wall, held in by Bilodeau, no. And he fires it back into the Tri-City zone. Barnes will have it and bring it out. Stu Barnes through the middle to Spenrath. Spenrath dumping it in, knocked down by Bilodeau. McNutt takes it away from him, dumps it into the Seattle zone. Bow with it, back behind his own net. Vince Bow under pressure, rips one up the middle. Nedved breakaway. Peter Nedved. Nedved shoots, save, Kolzig. And Kolzig going after the loose puck, and Seattle continues to whack at it. Kolzig stoned him 3 times and really thumped Nedved in the process. Puck shot out through the middle. Nedved paid the price for that one. Big play by Ole the goalie. Puck back to Nedved. Nedved in his own zone. Good Czechoslovakian drives it through the middle. Barnes gets it, flips it back, but it's picked up along the wall by Nedved. He's hauled down by Lindsay. Puck picked up by Degner. Degner wheels in. Degner throws it up front. Levens shot, save, Lorenz. Point blank on Scott Levens. Lorenz with a quick glove.
What you are looking at is great Western Hockey League playoff action at both ends of the ice. Number 33, Ole Kolzig, coming up huge for the Tri-City Americans to keep that score at 1 apiece as he stops 3 Seattle Thunderbird big shots down there right on goal.
Well, Seattle's guns don't get any bigger than Nedved and Vallis had the second 2 whacks at it down there.
And then on this side of it, you see the shot by Scotty Levens from Terry Degner. Great play, great execution. Levens puts it right to the glove side, but there's Denny Lorenz to put the glove on it and freeze it up. That is great action by both netminders at both ends.
Face-off right circle in the Seattle zone. Barnes coming off the ice for the Americans. That leaves Sherstenka and Virtue at the points. It'll be Levin, or Degner centering Levens and Lindsay. Now Kolzig being, having a chat with referee Derek Blosky. Kolzig looked like he may have been shaken up down there when Nedved crashed into it.
That is one thing that the National Hockey League is going to be taking a look at this summer is the crashing of forwards into the netminders. How valuable that crease is to the goaltender. That is a rule they have to look at.
Puck picked up by Barrett. Barrett hauled down by Virtue, and a penalty's coming. No real argument there. Holding will be the call, and Terry Virtue will go very quietly to the penalty box, which is something he did not do last night. I mean, let's be honest. He was robbed last night by the referee in last night's game. Virtue gets a major penalty in a game misconduct for basically waving his stick in the guy's face.
This time a holding penalty is the call, and this puts Seattle on their 3rd power play of the evening. They are so far 1 for 2 tonight. It's 1-1 with 4:39 remaining in the first period.
Face off at the red line, Goodall and Rennie. Rennie with Nibs, Jakes and Barnes. Barnes with the puck, tees it up. Whoop, Goodall got his stick on it, or Gervais rather, getting his stick on it. Goodall goes down. Now Barnes jumps on the loose puck. Barnes tried to find Rennie. Rennie cuts it off his stick. Rennie goes to the rodeo with Kozlowski. What do you call that? Puck thrown right out in the slot for Nedved. Worked over by Jakes and flat back out to the neutral zone.
Yippee-yi-yay, get along, little doggy.
Larry Mahan would have been proud of that move by Rennie. Back up the middle. Here comes Gervais right to Kozlowski. Kozlowski throws it across. Shot by Gervais! Cleared by the Americans. Great defensive play again as Barnes steps in to clear the puck behind Ole Kolzig.
Great play by Barnes.
And Kolzig gives a little pat on the helmet for the help. Nedved starts in, leaves it for Goodall. Back along the wall to Kozlowski. He'll have to chase it back to the blue line and hits Rennie. Rennie can't quite get to it. Kozlowski goes right now to Nedved. Nedved worked over by Barnes along the wall. Gervais with the puck. Gervais tied up by Calvin Nibs. Nibs and Bilodeau fight for the puck. Gervais, Nibs, Bilodeau. And they throw it left to Nedved. 46 seconds left in the power play. Bilodeau right. Gervais. Gervais shot. Save. Kolzig. Kicked it over behind the net. Goodall picks it up. Rennie's on him out front. Nedved shot. Save. Kolzig. And Jake slaps it off the wall. Nedved from the left hash mark. Up front to Bilodeau. Bilodeau right. Gervais. One-timer and Jake slides into it. A diving Calvin Nibs knocks it away. Puck driven in behind the net around to the right side. Back to the neutral zone. Great penalty killing. 3 minutes to go in a period, a 1-1 tie. Nedved with it, back in his own zone. Nedved brings it up the middle, dumps a pass left to Goodall. Sandwith and Goodall in the corner. Sandwith gets to it, bounces it to Bowen, bangs it off the boards. Back into the Tri-City or Seattle zone. Bowen, Zavisha, and Levin. Levin steals the puck, tries to pass it to himself. A little hot, and he gets tied up by the defenseman. Goodall with it, back in his own zone. Makes the pass to Vince Bowe. Bowe off the right side, 2-on-3. Bowe in the middle. Puck picked up by Zavisha. He's tied up. Offside, see out. Nope, no whistle as Vallis is there. I thought the linesman was signaling an offside. Puck thrown out to the middle. Malgunas right to Bowe. Back to Malgunas. Right underneath Levins. They fire through the middle to Chapman. Poked away by Sherstanka, and this time they do get the offside call.
Great end-to-end action here at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. And Stewie Barnes, in the last couple of rushes, made probably one of the biggest defensive saves so far this season, as he was able to put the stick down there. That puck had eyes for the goal line, and he was able to brush it away and preserve this 1-1 tie. Great play by number 14.
2:11 to go in the first period here at Tri-Cities Coliseum. Kirk Williamson along with Tony Ott on tonight's broadcast. Steve McNutt having a look at his stick. I guess he's ready to go. Craig Chapman to take the draw. Chapman, an 18-year-old rookie from Williams Lake, BC. McNutt, a 19-year-old in his second year in the league from Calgary. Chapman wins the draw. Malgunas to the right side. From the hash mark, throws it into the slot. Kolzik steers it behind the net. Jakes and Kaniski go after the puck. Picked up by Reeves. Kyle Reeves looking at Spenrath. Gets it out to him. Spenrath left off the wall from McNutt. A little hot. Nutter won't get to it. Simon with it in his own zone. Up along the wall, but Jake started to drive it back in. Lorenz will leave it for Stu Malgunas. The Americans clear the zone. Malgunas fires it up the left wing to Kaniski, to Chapman. He's being worked over by McNutt. Finally shoots the puck right into McNutt, but Kaniski ties up McNutt. Nutter goes to Reeves. Reeves, blue line, around Bowe, leaves it for Spenrath. Spenrath along the wall, tried to get it to Reeves. Kicked away from Reeves. Puck back into the neutral zone. Whoop, turns Farrell around. Kaniski almost with a breakaway opportunity, but Farrell recovers quickly. Now Degner with it along the wall. Into the Seattle zone. Bilodeau. Reeves is dumped right in front of the net. Reeves wondering where the referee went. And Reeves turned around and had a little howdy-doody for Vince Bowe. Barnes, blue line. And we get an offside call. Now Barnes and Kevin Malgunas having a little yap, and they're both gone.
Both of them will be escorted over to the sin bin as Stewie Barnes, on the retaliation, comes up high with the stick, and he'll be called, and he will be escorted off the ice into the dressing room area with 59 seconds remaining in this first period. Also going off, being number 22, Kevin Malgunas. He is also charged with a 2-minute penalty as well.
Roughing on both, I believe so.
I believe.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, I think a slash is going to be called in one of them. I think you're going to see the slash go against Stewie.
All right, slashing and roughing, that's good enough.
It's 2 minutes either way.
Yep. Seattle 1 for 3 on power plays. The Americans 0 for 1. Puck along the wall. Big hit on Barrett. Degner picks up the puck. Degner with it. Degner and Levin. Degner, left side. Shot. Scored! Terry Degner!
Terry Degner gains the blue line. He comes over the Seattle blue line into the zone. He wheels the puck over to the left circle. He lines up his shot, cranks out a beautiful wrist shot, and Terry Degner goes high, pushes the up button over the glove of Danny Lorenz. Terry Degner gets his first marker of the playoff series and gives the Tri-City Americans a 2-1 lead with 42 seconds remaining in the first period.
Well, and Degner there's an example of what continued hard work will do, because Degner has had a brutal month of March. Finally, he's been in an awful slump, but he's been able to put it back together there. Now Malgunas driving it in beside the Tri-Cities net.
Scored by number 19, Terry Degner.
Unassisted goal. Puck shot out to the neutral zone. Goes right to Kozowski. Walks into the right hash mark. Throws it in front of the net. Jakes has it. 15 seconds. Jakes throw it through the middle, and Lorenz will stop it beside the net, leave it for Stu Malgunas. Malgunas under pressure from Bowen. Malgunas brings it up to the Seattle blue line. Right, Stevenson, long distance shot. Kolzig puts it into the corner. 1 second. Time runs out. At the end of the first period here in the Coliseum, a standing ovation from the American crowd as the Americans take a 2-1 lead into the dressing room. And Rick Kozubak is out having a friendly conversation with Derek Blosky.
And he just got 2 minutes for it, too.
Yeah, he sure did. Blosky just dinged him. Kozubak out on the ice just barking at Blosky, and Blosky just wrote him the ticket. So at the end of the first period, 2-1 Americans. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Back once again live at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. I'm Tony Ott. Joining me now in the broadcast booth is Mr. Brian Shaw. He's the governor of the Portland Winterhawks and also the chairman of the board of the Western Hockey League. And Brian, pleasure to have you up here in game number 6 of the Western Division semifinals. And the semifinals, Brian, have been marred with all kinds of controversy. Everything you can imagine, from signs being held up in the Seattle Center Arena, the Coliseum, to, of course, the infamous stick-swinging brawl up there. And you were up there. You had a chance to see it. Yeah, you were down on the ice. It must have been a time for you that you don't ever want to see again.
Well, it's the first time I've ever seen it. I've been in the league over 20 years. It's the first time that I've ever seen it. And contrary to what a lot of people say, Tony, it is not a black mark on hockey because really it had nothing to do with the game of hockey, the way the game is played on the ice. And, you know, I think a lot of people were putting the knock on the game, and I think that's really unfair. This was an incident involving, let's say, from 4 to 6 goofball fans from Seattle and some individuals with the Tri-City Americas that had nothing to do with the game of hockey. But, you know, when the first round of playoffs, you always have the kooky things happen because everybody is looking for that little advantage. They're looking like the basic fundamentals of all hockey people is that it's a new season starting. Things are different in the playoffs, and so everybody wants to do something different. And that's why these things happen. It's a case of, well, we'll go in and win one of two. If we win one, we'll soften them up for the other. You don't see that happening during the regular season. And so this, other than that major incident, this is typical first-round playoff hockey.
Are you surprised that what actually the Americans Seattle series, because before the playoffs even started, all the hoopla had pointed to this particular series as the best ticket in town as far as the playoffs?
Well, I think that it was supposed to be that way, and I think had it not been for maybe a lack of control or perhaps not as much discipline.
How about the injury to Sakic?
Yeah, that's a very, very crucial thing. I mean, you saw what happened when Nedved was out for the 2 games. But, you know, I just find it difficult to believe that you can win playoff games when you take as many penalties as the Americans have been taking. And I'm not picking on the Americans. You know, I think the general consensus was that this would be a tough series, that Tri-City would come in and physically pound Seattle. I heard some of the comments from Kamloops. It'll be nice if that series goes a long way because we'll just pick up the pieces, whoever it is, Tri-Cities or Seattle, and that really hasn't happened yet. And, you know, like if the whole series had been as the first period was tonight, that's pretty good hockey. That was excellent hockey. Great goaltending on both goaltenders. These guys are rising to the occasion tonight. Yeah, very, very outstanding goaltending, and, you know, but you can't replace a Sakic. He's got Tri-City needs to score goals, and he's one of the guys all year that's been putting the puck in the net. And scoring a goal is a natural gift, and you can't really teach anyone how to score a goal. You have to have that natural tendency, and I think that, you know, young Lindsay, I'm very impressed with the way he's played. He's got a pretty good touch around the net, but has to work hard to make it go in. I think your big guy, number 16, is he's a pretty good natural.
Scott Levens?
Yeah, Levens. He's a pretty good natural goal scorer. And, of course, your best natural goal scorer is Barnes, who's playing back on the blue line. But you need some more flow and some more penetration, you know, because Seattle have got a good hockey club. Let's not kid ourselves. They've got tremendous depth. When they put those 5 guys out on that power play,
It's a great one.
it might be the best power play in all of junior hockey. There's no question about it. So you've got to avoid giving them the opportunities that they've been getting. And you know, if the Tri-Cities club can play like they played this first period, this series is far from over.
Quickly, Brian, we have the Stewie Barnes, of course, has been drafted by the Winnipeg Jets, first-round pick, and number 4 overall. What are the chances of him being called up to Winnipeg if the Tri-City Americans are eliminated from this series?
Well, if I were going to guess, I would say that if Tri-Cities was eliminated tonight, he'd probably be in Winnipeg tomorrow. That's the way they operate, and that's something that that I am attempting to have stopped. Excuse me. I think that once a player is reassigned to juniors, such as him or a lot of the players, they should not be allowed to be called up. It's all right for them to say, well, once a junior club is finished, then there's no need for them to stay. But I have gone through it time and time again, Tony, with players on my own hockey club who, you know, they knew that when our season was over, they were going up to bigger and better things, and it plays with the youngster's mind, and I think it's grossly unfair.
All right, Brian, I appreciate you stopping in and talking with us during this first intermission. Take care, and good luck to the Winterhawks next year, okay?
Thank you, Tony.
All right. That's Brian Shaw. He's the governor of the Portland Winterhawks, also chairman of the board of the Western Hockey League. We'll return in just a moment. The Americans lead the Seattle Thunderbirds by a score of 2-1. Back right after this. All right, we're back here live, and we are now going down to the ice, and let's hear what Tom Lathan has to say. It looks like Paul Drake from KOTY, the morning show, the road show, and what's he doing out there?
Paul bet a Seattle DJ that the Americans would win, and well, you know the rest of that one, and the loser would have to wear the other guy's sweater in public. So here goes Paul Drake around the ice. Hey, anybody got a beer? Well, Paul, shame on you. Wearing the green at the end of March just doesn't make sense in the Tri-Cities, Paul. Don't fall down, look out, uh-oh.
And there goes Paul Drake.
My.
Part of the bet he had with a Seattle radio station.
Now doing this, look out, Paul. Oh, what's this? That looks better. That looks better. Paul Drake, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Paul Drake, your new Y106, the morning man, on the Paul Drake Road Show, and he sheds off the green and shows his true colors, the black and the gold. As Paul Drake, he finishes up his end of the bargain as he skates down into the Tri-City Americans tunnel, and he'll get back down there, and he got a nice round of applause here. Paul Drake, your new Y106. We'll take the timeout as the officials are now coming back onto the ice. Both teams are getting ready to come back out and play this second period of hockey. The Tri-City Americans have the lead, 2-1 over the Seattle Thunderbirds. We'll be back right after this.
Penalty box, and the Americans will serve that 2-minute bench minor on Rick Kozubak, who, after all the talk about discipline, frankly, went over the wall, screamed it onto the ice, which is a no-no, screamed at the referee, which is a bigger no-no, and falls in the box. Seattle with power play number 4 for the Thunderbirds. We may have scoring changes coming up, we'll see. Face-off won by the Thunderbirds, driven into the Tri-City zone. Kolzik will leave it behind the net for Jakes, but Nedved keeps it in at the left point. Just to Malgunas in the corner, Vallis. Down behind the net, Jakes fighting his way through, but he's tied up. Sherstenka takes a whack at it. Now Jakes out to Sherstenka, but right back to the left point, Nedved. Nedved down to Goodall. Nope, Gervais behind the net. Vic Gervais as Vallis is dumped by Jakes. Penalty coming, and down goes Gervais.
Well, that wipes out the Seattle power play as Lindsey Vallis will take a seat on the pine as he hooks Steve Jakes right in the slot area. And not a real smart play. Lindsey Vallis, a veteran in this league, drafted by Montreal, and he knows better than to get down there, and that was probably brought on by the great defensive skill of Steve Jakes trying to push him out, and he was able to put that stick around him and draw Steve Jakes down to the ice. A penalty, and the Americans will have a short penalty power play of 27 seconds coming up in 1:33.
That'll be the Americans' second power play of the night. Stu Barnes is in the box. He and Kevin Malgunas taking each other off late in the period. Now the puck shot to length the ice into the Tri-City zone. Degner upended by Stu Malgunas. No whistle. Puck out to the blue line. Schustenka holds it in. Schustenka right circle. In, gets a shot away. Nobody there. Levin's backhand shot saved by Danny Lorenz, and the T-Birds wheel. Stolen away by Degner. Out to the neutral zone. Degner and Levins take it in. Stolen away by Malgunas. Back to the neutral zone. Levins. Scott Levins, as the teams are 4-on-4. Levins, Jakes to Schustenka. Dan Schustenka and Levins break in with Degner. 3-on-2. Degner in the slot. Left Schustenka. Poke checked away by Bo. Back to the neutral zone. Gervais 1-on-1. Backhand pass for Goodall, and he missed as Kolzig stayed right with it. Here comes Sandwith. Sandwith across the red line. Sandwith, blue line, left hash mark. Takes it into the corner behind the net. Darcy Simon ties him up, takes the puck away. Simon stepping away from a Levins shot. Now Simon behind the net. Whips it out into the right corner. Levins can't get to it. They're on a shift change, but Dirksen is there. He drives it back into the Seattle zone. 17 seconds left in the penalty to Jason Bowen, serving the bench minor. Puck comes off the wall. Goodall picked up by Gervais. Vic Gervais cuts to the middle. Gervais around Sandwich. Shot save Kolzig. Loose puck. Farrell skates off of it. Now picks it back up. Farrell up the left wing. Farrell tries to headman Dirksen. Stolen away by Goodall. Goodall left of the net. Tried to find Gervais. Sandwich ties up Goodall. Gervais with the puck. Goes to the backhand. A loose puck taken away by Lindsay. Gervais is dumped. Lindsay up the right wing. Chopped away by Bilodeau. Down goes Bowen. Puck picked up by Farrell. Farrell shot saved. Out in the slot. Down goes Kozlowski. Now Nedved picks it up. 1 second left in the power play. Ballas is on. Ballas and Nedved. Schustenka dumps Nedved. Penalty coming. Cross-checking. I believe will go against. Well, let's wait and see.
We're going to wait for the official call here, and I believe it is going against the T-Birds. As Malgunas is he's waiting for the official from Pulaski. And I'm not sure exactly who the cross-check was called on, Kurt.
Well,
I thought it was against the T-Birds, and it looks
Peter,
as if it's...
or McCosby?
For too many men on the ice. Served by number 16, Darren McCausland at 2:34.
You know, I was taking a look at the second period is the toughest period for any of these teams because where they change off of the bench is into their own zone or into the attacking zone. That's generally where you do your shifting, and it does cause a lot of congestion right around that particular entrance into the boxes there.
Well, the penalty will give the Americans their third power play of the night. Puck shot back into the Seattle zone. Puck up the right point. Farrell drives it in left of the net. Degner couldn't get to it. Up to Dirksen. Back to Degner at the left hash mark. Degner tied up by Stu Malgunas. Goes down low to Levins. Levins left of the net. Wheels. Levins steps into the circle. Levins shot. Ooh! Lindsay tried to redirect. Lindsay throws it back up to the right point to Farrell. Farrell holds it in, but the Thunderbirds there. Vince Bowe fires it into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig will play it to Farrell. Backhand pass. Farrell to Devin Dirksen. Dirksen blue line. Tri-City's leading 2-1. Dirksen shot. Hit the post. Comes off to Degner. Degner into the slot for Lindsay, and it's knocked away. Dirksen holds it in. Down goes Lorenz. Penalty coming. Go against the Americans. Tripping.
Scotty Levins whistled for the tripping as he's right down in the slot area, right in front of Danny Lorenz. He's trying to chase the puck into the left corner. He puts the stick down, gets it right behind Danny Lorenz's skate, kind of pulls on the up button himself, and up ends Danny Lorenz.
Will he do that?
And there's Mr. Pulaski right there. There goes the hand up into the air. 2-minute penalty, wipes out the power play, and will put Seattle back on the power play for 55 seconds in 1:05.
They call them the Birds of Prey in Seattle. The Americans would like to change the spelling of that to P-R-A-Y. Outside the blue line, face-off won by Reeves. Going after the puck is Jakes. Jakes ahead to Spenrath. Spenrath wheels through the neutral zone. Spenrath brings it up. The big Ranger draft pick drops it for Barnes. Barnes left circle shot. Reeves on the doorstep, and he was tied up. Reeves in at the left hash mark. Kyle Reeves taken up by Bo, but Spenrath has the puck, held in by Barnes. Barnes' shot, saved Lorenz. Comes around to the right side, Spenrath for Jakes. Jakes whipping it down low into the corner. Lorenz goes after it, keeps it going. Barnes will pick it up, lined up by Vallis. Barnes skated off the play by Lindsey Vallis. Loose puck in the neutral zone. Barnes, backhand pass to Reeves. Reeves carries it back out. Barnes picks it up. Vallis all over Barnes. Barnes slapping it in. Vallis hog ties Barnes. No whistle. Vallis all over Barnes. And you hear the fans airing out Blosky. And we'll have an icing call back in the Seattle zone. That was, I mean, come on, people.
Well, in the meantime, what should happen on a situation like that? And I know
Rod Sterling should step out and talk to Blosky.
I tell you what, Coach Rick Kozovac is very upset with that, because Lindsey Vallis had tied up Stewie Barnes right in front of the Americans bench and just basically sat on him. But in a case like that, you've got all the attention focused in on that particular part of the ice. Get your rush started up and go up and get a shot on goal. Well, what happened? The Americans tried to do just that. The pass was overled, and it went by Kyle Reeves down into Seattle zone. The icing call back in front of Ole Kolzig off to his glove side.
3 seconds before the Seattle power play starts. Face-off right circle, Tri-City zone, McNutt and Goodall. Now McNutt being thumbed by Tom Cowell, and in will come Calvin Nibbs to take the draw. Nibbs and Goodall. Goodall wins the draw, back to Stu Malgunas, right point, Malgunas shot, save Kolzig, rebound, save Kolzig, comes out, up to the blue line, gets by Nedved. Nibbs trying to jump on Nedved. Nedved muscles Nibbs off the play. Gervais hauls it in. Gervais left, Kozowski. Shot saved, Kolzig, rebound. Goodall! Gervais tried to find Goodall. Knocked away by McNutt. Whoop, bad pass, McNutt right. Goodall can't handle it. Schustenka into the corner. T-Birds throw it out again. This time it's poked away by Nibbs. Stu Malgunas, his shot wide of the net right. And McNutt sweeps it across the blue line. Stu Malgunas back for it. 24 seconds in the power play. Malgunas left, Kozowski. Right side, Nedved, give and go. Schustenka there. Cut off at the blue line by Malgunas. A blast save, Kolzig. And the rebound chopped out of play. Up in section S there in the corner.
That Seattle power play, Kirk, is a fine oiled machine. They are so skillful on how they pass that puck down in the zone. They look for the open man. And one thing you'll notice, too, is, and the difference you see about Peter Nedved is, he is a Wayne Gretzky type of player. He always has his head up looking to pass the puck. He is not a stingy player. He goes and he looks for the assist, hits the open man. And if you young hockey players out there can take any lessons from that man, the one thing you need to look at is his head. He keeps it up all the time.
Face-off outside the blue line, won by the Americans. Barnes tries to drive it out, can't, now gets it out. Barnes is hauled down by Kevin Malgunas, and the T-Birds have it. Break in right side, Gervais. Barnes pokes it away, back to the neutral zone. Vince Bowe, left, driving it into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig will leave it for Barnes. Barnes drives it out to Levens, but Bowe is there to fire it right back in again. Power play's over. T-Birds 1 for 5. Americans 0 for 3, and that includes a short one. Headman pass for Spenrath. He's lifted off the puck by Bowe. Back through the middle, Sandwith finds Spenner again. Spenner, blue line, poked away by Bilodeau. Barnes gets it, drives it in behind the net now. Lorenz will leave it as Nibbs and Rennie go crashing in after it. But the T-Birds, Bowe plays it off to Bilodeau. And back into the neutral zone, into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig will let Schustenka get it behind the net. Dan Schustenka brings it ahead to Calvin Nibbs. Nibbs tried to find Lindsay, couldn't. Loose puck in the neutral zone. Turner Stevenson picks it up. Shot in behind the net. Comes all the way off to the left point. Stu Malgunas and Nibbs collide. Goodall with it. Glenn Goodall starts in. Shot save, Kolzig. We're at full strength, but this looks like a Seattle power play. Puck goes around behind the Americans' net. Now Lindsay picks it up. Lindsay out to the neutral zone. Taken off by Goodall. Degner goes down. Seattle with it. Puck shot across ice left. Goodall can't get to it. Nibbs picks it up. Nibbs out into the neutral zone. Degner goes after it, but Darcy Simon will get to it first. Simon bangs it off the glass to Kaniski. Big hit on him by Lindsay. Throws it across the slot to Reeves. Reeves left corner. Taken off by Simon. Degner and Stevenson into the corner. They kick the puck loose. Reeves goes in with Simon. They try to dig it out. It comes off to Degner, back to Reeves. Can't get it done. Simon behind the net, wires it all the way around the dashboard. Back into the Tri-City zone. Back for it, Barnes. Barnes off the wall. He'll bring it up. Barnes, Jakes. Whoop, hit Jakes' skate. Stolen away by Kozlowski. Back through the middle. And fired back into the Tri-City zone. Look a little like pond hockey to you?
A little bit.
12:28 to go in the second period. Now Reeves in the neutral zone. 2-on-3 with Dirksen. Reeves and Dirksen cross. Reeves, right side shot, safe. Ooh, went in behind the net. I'll tell you what, that was close. Lorentz grabbed it and just able to deflect it outside the net. Now Barnes behind the net, bangs it off the glass for Jakes. Jakes will pick it up, carry it in behind his own net. Jakes and Barnes, down goes Jakes. Ballas got him. Off the wall, kept in play by Seattle. Loose puck picked up by Loring. The torpedo up the right wing boards, finds McNutt. Chopped back out by Bilodeau, and we get a whistle. Offside Tri-Cities. Now Chapman and Jakes and Ballas and Loring having a little chat down there.
First stoppage in play in about 3 minutes, as it has been a wild, open, freewheeling type of skating party out there, as the puck's been crossing the blue line at least 15 times on both sides. Nobody having any kind of consistency getting it in and taking the shots. I'd have to give it to Seattle, though, if this period right now, as they have been able to get down on Ole and take some quality shots. Danny Lorentz really hasn't been tested all that much in this first half of the second period.
Now, maybe that slapper by Reeves that pinned him against the post, probably the best shot on Lorentz.
Although Dirksen did have one that hit the pipe as well, and that's about been the extent of the Americans' rushes so far. 2
broken sticks being removed from the ice by the linesman, Tom Cowell, who lives here in Tri-Cities, and Lonnie Cameron, who lives in Seattle, the linesman tonight.
You know, Seattle, Kirk, has 3 players that are nominated as finalists for awards in the WHL this season. Glenn Goodall for the Ford Broncos Memorial Trophy for the most valuable player. Danny Lorentz defending his Del Wilson Trophy for the emblematic of the league's top goaltender. And the Jim Piggott Memorial Trophy finalist is Peter Nedved. And that is for the top rookie.
That's the trophy that Barnes won 2 years ago.
Also, the Fort Broncos was one that he won last year for the league MVP.
Backhand back into the Tri-City zone as Fenrath lines up Darcy Simon out to the neutral zone. Schustenka with it. Drives it back, but Simon cuts it off. Simon up the left wing. Nice check by Virtue on Simon. But the Thunderbirds control it again. Back through the middle, Gervais. Gervais tied up by Schustenka. Shot save Kolzik. That was actually a little wide to the net. Shoveled down low by Kevin Malgunas. Back for it, Virtue. Virtue tried to get it to Reeves. He's tied up. Malgunas with it. Kevin Malgunas muscles McNutt. Leaves it for Gervais. Gervais throws it out in the slot. Backhand shot. Chopped up in the air. Kolzik will glove it. That's one of the advantages of being 6'3½".
Boy, Ole looked like somebody in the Final Four this afternoon going down in the paint, ready to go up with the 2 points. Boy, he had that on the left-hand side, grabbed it like the ball was right there and ready to put it up and score.
You believe, Duke? They're down with, they're down by what, 5 or 6 with 15 minutes to play. They're ahead by 1 with 9 minutes to play, and then they just systematically dismantled the Hogs in the last 9 minutes of that game.
I did not get a Georgia Tech UNLV final, did you?
Nope, maybe Pat Lowell will get that for us. Face-off right circle, Goodall and McNutt. Also haven't heard the Kamloops Spoke story either. Turner Stevenson, backhand shot, knocked down by Sandwith. Sandwith brings it out ahead of Kaniski. Down he goes. Well, once in a while, luck shines the other way, and
Al Kaniski will be penalized, you bet.
Well, no, come on.
Terrence Sandwith is not
doing
known.
a Glenn Goodall. Come on.
Now, I'll tell you something. Terrence Sandwith, rookie this year, he's learned a little bit in the last 80 games that he's played in. Right there was a good example of it, as he wasn't past the neutral ice, center ice line, and he was hooked from behind by Kaniski, and then he just kind of lost his skates for some reason.
Yeah.
Took one for the team. That's a good play.
It is indeed. Power play number 4 for the Americans. Seattle's had 5. The Americans have yet to score in a power play. Tri-Cities wins the draw. Reeves with it to Jakes at the left point. Jake's pass. Barnes was out. So I don't know where Barnes went. And puck's back in the Tri-City zone. Kolzig plays it. McNutt losing it to Goodall. Goodall, Gervais, back to Glenn Goodall. Goodall wheels around, finds Vince Bowe. Bowe losing it to McNutt. Back to Jakes. Picked up by Reeves. Here come the Americans. Reeves beats Gervais. Reeves blue line. Nope. Poke checked away by Goodall, who puts a little thumper on Kyle Reeves' left ear as he goes by.
That was a good play by Glenn Goodall.
Yeah, it was, certainly was. Barnes back behind his own net will start the breakout. McNutt cruises in to take Chapman out of the play. Barnes with it. Goes right to Jakes. Hit his skate. They carry it in. The T-Birds knock it right back out again. Barnes back for it. Barnes, headman pass to McNutt. And Darcy Simon drives it back. Simon breaks his stick. And the Americans bring it back. Barnes, left, McNutt. McNutt driving it in left of the Seattle net. Levens in with it. Levens keeps it in play. Goes down beside the net to Lindsay. Back up to Jakes. Jakes goes left, finds McNutt, give and go. Jakes shot saved. Lorenz had to save it between Levin's legs. Another shot. A sliding Craig Chapman makes the save. Jakes with it. Out in the neutral zone. 34 seconds left in the power play. Jakes ahead to Lindsay. Billy Lindsay, poke checked away by Malgunas. And Jakes can't get to it. He does, gets it to Lindsay. Drop back pass, whoop, back into the neutral zone. Barnes. Barnes wheels under pressure, lifts it up into the Seattle zone. Comes down beside the net. Bilodeau, big hit on Bilodeau by Levens, and the loose puck comes off to Degner. Degner in the slot for Sandwich. His shot, he fanned on it. Now Levens is hauled down by Bilodeau. A shot saved. Comes off the glass and a diving.
There better be a penalty for that. Stuart Malgunas reaches up like the goaltender, grabs the puck, and falls down to the ice. And I would hope that Blosky calls something on a 2-minute delay penalty on that one. That is a flagrant delay penalty right there. There should be something for that. He's making his way over to the official's box.
I think he's just lost. 8:48 to go, second period.
That was absolutely a delay penalty. I mean, that is in the book right there.
And they are. They're going to take Stu Malgunas for the delay of game at the 11:12 mark. So 1 second it expired after the power play, and Malgunas goes for delay. Americans getting their 5th power play of the night.
Oh, they call him for closing his hand on the puck.
We'll call it delay of game.
That's basically what it was.
Face-off left circle in the Seattle zone. Degner wins the draw. Dirksen left point. Dirksen a slap shot. Saved. Levens couldn't get it returned. Levens in the corner with Lindsay. T-Birds fire it back up. Dirksen holds it in. Lindsay left hash mark. Back to Dirksen. Dirksen left to Lindsay. Lindsay tried to throw it back up to Farrell. Cut down by the Thunderbirds. Goodall and fired back out again. Goodall and Gervais. Now Gervais leaves. On comes Simon and Chapman. Simon, Chapman, Goodall, and Bowe for Seattle as Farrell goes in. Dumps it into the right corner. Degner. Degner throws it up front for Levens. Levens in too deep. Can't get it done. To Lindsay, left of the net. Lindsay back to Levens. Levens tried to stuff it. Threw it out front. Chapman takes it off his stick. Chapman hauled down. Degner, or Dirksen rather, keeps it in. Levens. And we get an offside call as the Americans had it back across the blue line.
Degner, Levens, and Lindsay logging a lot of ice time tonight. And the reason is that their speed has been able to get just a step or so out in front of the defense. And they are always down there. That line has probably been your most productive so far this evening. Got some scores for you, Kirk, around the W.
Let's do it, yeah.
Regina 6, Prince Albert 2. What I tell you about those Pats now.
Yeah, you're right.
They're in the second period. Saskatoon 2, Lethbridge nothing after
that
one
won't
period.
last, folks. Trust me, it won't last.
That's in Prince Albert, by the way, too, sir.
Lethbridge will get mad here at the first intermission and win that one 8-2. 8 to whatever.
They are an incredible hockey club.
Yep, they are. Back in behind the Americans net on the faceoff. A minute to go on the power play. Up the left side for McNutt. Crowd comes to life. Back into the Tri-City zone. Jakes right, Barnes. Barnes with it through the middle. Knocked down by Gervais, and Bilodeau drives it back into the Tri-City zone. 47 seconds left in the power play. Barnes behind the net. Stu Barnes up the left side. Barnes up the left wing boards, and we get a penalty against Jakes.
Now, Jakes was being molested back there by Kevin Malgunas deep in the American zone, and he was trying to keep him away from going in and trying to throw the stick at Ole Kolzig. As he was getting back out, and the Americans were starting their head rush up the ice, Steve Jakes was there to get the penalty. A tripping penalty, 2 minutes, and the Americans will skate 4-on-4 with the T-Birds for 41 more seconds. And then Seattle goes back on the power play, their 6th one of the night.
7:29 to go in the period. It'll be Degner and Kozlowski on the face-off. The teams will skate 4-on-4 now for 39 seconds. Then the Seattle power play. Farrell steps away from Kozlowski. Farrell across the blue line. Whoop, Farrell skated off the puck. Loose puck picked up by Degner. Degner carries it in, gets around Bo. Degner left circle, out to Lindsay. Lindsay can't quite handle the puck. Bilodeau drives him against the wall. Bilodeau and Lindsay with Degner. Americans leading 2-1 over Seattle. Thunderbirds turn. Here comes Ballas. Ballas 2-on-3 with Kozlowski. Kozlowski at the left hash mark. Bangs it off the wall for Ballas. Ballas can't get to it. Degner with it. 7 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Bo leaving it for Peter Kozlowski. 1 second left. Power play number 6 begins for the Thunderbirds. They find Malgunas. Stu Malgunas fires it in on net. Kolzig will leave it for Trans Sandwith. Sandwith brings it right straight up the middle. Sandwith, the Americans killing penalty here. Sandwith goes in beside the Seattle net, drops it in low behind the net. Nedved picks it up. Peter Nedved. Nedved drives it to the right side for Ballas. Nice pass to Kozlowski. Left Bilodeau bounces off of his skate. And Sherstenka back in his own zone to get it. Gets by Nedved, fires it back. Nib ball down right in front of Blosky. And so Rennie dumping Kevin Malgunas. That'll even things up a little bit.
The reason you did not see Blosky call a penalty on that is that Calvin Nibs is such a pepper pot out there. He constantly is out there harassing the other players, and he never falls down in any of the competition. Referees have a tendency to do that. If there's a guy that is consistent in falling down all the time, they'll get the call. You get an aggressive player like Calvin Nibs who falls down due to aggression, they won't call it. And right there was a perfect example of it in center ice.
Puck back in the Seattle zone on the faceoff. Outlet pass comes to Goodall. Goodall backhanding it into the Tri-City zone. Kevin Malgunas in the corner. Throws it around behind the net. Gervais. Gervais in the slot, but he put it right on Barnes' stick. Barnes turns with Rennie. Barnes and Rennie. Barnes. Sherstenka catching up. Whoop! Barnes skated off the play by Nedved. And it's 3-on-2. With Goodall left. Shot. Save Kolzig! Kolzig going from post to post. Great save on Nedved. Malgunas goes to the right side. Back to Nedved. Power play's over. Seattle 1 for 6. T-Birds with it through the middle into the left circle. Comes off to Barnes. Back in his own zone. Barnes brings it up. Seattle in a messy shift change. Barnes a drive. Save Lorenz off to Bo. Vince Bo turns. Drives it up the middle to Stevenson. Stevenson a long distance shot. Kolzig puts it off the glass. Comes down. Kolzig bats it around to Barnes. Barnes fires it out. Left point. Bilodeau holds it in. Shoots it into the slot. Cut off by Farrell. Farrell 3-on-2 with Dirksen. But Bilodeau there to save it. Back into the Tri-City zone. Barnes steps away from Chapman. Barnes with it up through the middle for Dirksen. Finds Loring. Loring taken off the play by Chapman. Back to Stevenson. Left to Al Kaniski. He dials up Kolzig's area code. Kolzig dumps it into the corner. Puck comes off to Barnes. Barnes out to Dirksen up the left wing. Dirksen finds Loring through the middle. Loring breakaway. Loring a slap shot to the long side miss. Back all the way out into the middle. Turner Stevenson up the left side. Drops it for Malgunas. Stu Malgunas goes right side as he gets hit by Loring. And Virtue picks up the puck. Drives it out to the neutral zone. Comes down. Lorenz will let it go. It'll be icing when Barrett gets to it. Icing the call. 4:12 to play second period. 2-1 Americans back after this on KTCR Cable 15 simulcast. Back in the Coliseum, face-off left circle, Kozlowski and McNutt. Puck one, face-off won by McNutt. Cherstenka. Behind the net, he's hauled down. Penalty coming against Kevin Barrett. Delayed penalty. Kolzig leaves. McNutt didn't see it. Dumped it in. Lorenz will have it. McNutt did not see the penalty coming, and a hooking call will go against the Seattle Thunderbirds.
How many consecutive penalties, Kirk? We've had 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth one that's consecutive, 2 apiece. And
well, it's just been power play after power play after power play.
Here's some scores for you, Kirk. Just got in. Thanks to Pat Lowell, our engineer, back in the studio. Regina 6, Prince Albert 2. That is now in the third period. Saskatoon has extended its lead over Lethbridge. They now lead at 5-3. That's in the third. And Kamloops has got 3 markers against Spokane's deuce. That's in the second period. And a final in also from the Final Four. UNLV will be making its appearance in the final game. They win it today over Georgia Tech, 90-81.
Well, the Running Rebels against Duke. That should be a great game.
That's what it's been predicted to go, and I think UNLV just got too much, Kurt.
Yeah, I think so, and I think Jerry Tarkanian is due, overdue, and then some. Back into the Tri-City zone. Dirksen with it. Slaps it back along the wall to Levens. Power play Tri-City as Barrett is on the pine. Levens brings it up the middle. Scotty Levens, blue line. Levens in the slot, offside.
Boy, that was really close there, too. As Scott Levens brings up the puck on the rush, and he has Billy Lindsay off to one wing and Terry Degner on the other. And they called it an offside. Boy, that was really close. I almost have to disagree with that, Kirk. Oh, boy, here we go. Oh, yeah.
Time to get these folks wound up here, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Minute 42 remaining in the power play. 2-1 Tri-Cities leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. Puck knocked loose. Farrell with it. Drives it in left of the Seattle net. Bo knocks it down. Down goes Levens. Puck comes back up to Farrell at the point. Foot races on. Farrell and Gervais. Gervais has it. Goodall. Goodall drive right up over the net. Kolzig had to duck for cover. Levens pumping Gervais beside the net. Hello, Victor. Here comes Lindsay. Up the middle, Billy Lindsay. Poke checked away. Lindsay wearing a Centennial Cup ring from the Vernon Lakers last year. They won the Centennial Cup. Lindsay is down and apparently hurt, and will stop the play as Lindsay went down.
Oh, my.
And that looks like a wheel.
Oh, and he is really holding on
to that right knee.
And he is down. Vic Gervais and him collided at center ice. And as soon as he did it, you could see it all the way from the press box up here, the pain that went right through Billy Lindsay's face. And he slid all the way over to the penalty box area, and he was clutching on, as you say, Kirk, to that wheel, and that is not a good sight to see.
Steve Bailey is out to work on Bill Lindsay, and while he does that, we'll take time out with the Americans leading 2-1 over the Thunderbirds. Well, Bill Lindsay leaving the ice at the 16:57 mark with an obviously badly banged up knee, and Tony, that is not what the Americans need.
Absolutely not. They cannot afford to lose Billy Lindsay. He was escorted off with the help of Scott Levens and Terry Degner. He is now in the dressing room being attended to. We'll get word on that as soon as we get it.
Faceoff will come just outside the Seattle blue line. Jakes for the Americans. Brings it up, dumps it in left of the Seattle net. Bo turns, drives it right back out again. Back into the Tri-City zone. Under a minute to go in the power play. 3:51 to play in the period. Tri-City's leading 2-1 over the Thunderbirds. Barnes with it. Barnes up through the middle. Goes left to Reeves. Reeves overskates it. Chopped away from Barnes by Chapman. Held in by Spenrath. No, he was offside. Just lost it across the blue line. I'll tell you what, Tom Cowell has been calling those about as close as you could ask for tonight, Tony.
You know, Tom Cowell, he's into the league this year. He's now a resident of the area, and very good. I've been impressed with Tom Cowell's performance this year.
Yeah, I think he's done an excellent job.
And I think you're going to see him as a premier linesman in the years to come in this league.
39 seconds left in the Americans' sixth power play of the night. It has been power play backed by power play. The Americans have actually had 5 opportunities in the period as Sandwith is dumped by Gervais. Puck picked up by Bowen, gets it up to Nibbs. Nibbs, drop pass for Rennie. Rennie, blue line. Drops it for Nibbs. Nibbs, quick wrist shot. Good! Calvin Nibbs finding the 5-hole behind Danny Lorenz.
Great play by the Tri-City Americans, bringing it up ice into the Seattle zone. And Steve Rennie just dishes the puck back to Calvin Nibbs. He skates on top of the right circle, and he lets the wrist shot go as Danny Lorenz was thoroughly screened by his own teammate. The puck went through the 5-hole into the net. It lights the lamp, and the Americans get their third marker of the evening. They lead it now 3-1. Calvin Nibbs, he gets his 4th goal of the playoff series and a power play goal to boot.
He certainly has been the bright light for the Americans in this playoff series. Minute 55 to go in the period. Stu Malgunas for Seattle goes to the left side. Both teams full strength. McCausland breaks his shot. Ooh, just missed to the long side. Kept in by Simon. Simon shot saved. Kolzig. Goodall flips it around behind the net. Stevenson fights into the corner for it. He's taken off. Now Goodall with it. Glenn Goodall in the corner with Stevenson. They try to dig it loose. Throw it right out in front of the crease. And now Rennie dumping it out into the neutral zone. Foot race is on. Stu Malgunas and Dirksen. Lorenz steers it in behind the net, right to Simon. Simon up to Kaniski. Kaniski, rink-wide pass hits Stevenson. So does Sherstenka. And the loose puck picked up there by Degner. Degner and Kaniski. Kicked away from Kaniski back into the Seattle zone. Now fired in by Virtue. The Americans clear. 1 minute to go. Puck picked up by Malgunas. Virtue tried to take it away from Kaniski, couldn't. Up along the wall, Stevenson. Stevenson dumps it in, left of the Tri-Cities net. Degner goes back for it, finds Terry Virtue. Virtue up the right wing. Here come the Americans. Virtue, coast to coast, dumps it into the left corner. Degner and Spinrath going after it. T-Birds work it right back out against Gervais. Gervais being muscled by Virtue. Quick shot, save, Kolzig. And Kolzig covers up the loose puck. As Kaniski and Spinrath have a little yap. And Kolzig went down on top of the puck. Boy, that got a little dicey down there beside the net.
Kaniski coming down, Al Kaniski coming down the right-hand side, bringing the puck up, lets the shot fly from the top of the right circle. He's able to follow it up on his own rebound, and he gets the rebounded shot off. Ole Kolzig just falls back on the puck. He had no idea where it was at, but he did feel the little biscuit on the small of his back, and he said, I'll just go ahead and sit here and let the referee call the whistle. We'll freeze it up, and we'll have the face-off off to the glove side of Mr. Kolzig.
Americans leading 3-1, game 6 of the playoff series, first round of Western Division playoff. Out to Bo. Bo, quick shot over the net. Kolzig may have slapped it over the net as Kosowski dumps it into the corner. In hard, Kevin Malgunas. McNutt with the puck. McNutt to Barnes. Barnes drives it out. Hits Loring's stick. Bo and Loring fight for it. Loring has it. The torpedo up the right wing. He's taken down by Vince Bo. Punches Bo in the head 3 or 4 good ones. And now they bring it back. Gervais. Gervais losing it to McNutt. McNutt wheels. McNutt drops it in ahead of Loring. Loring shot saved. Lorenz. Loose puck beside the net as time runs out. Now Loring in a fight with Gervais.
Sticks
in to
are
break
flying.
that is Jakes. And referee Blofsky just got a couple of them, I think.
Spenrath comes crashing in there with his stick as well. It was very high. Jakes had his stick up in there. Brad Loring was going at it down in there. Kevin Malgunas was involved for the T-Birds. Group of fellas down there trying to do a little Blue Danube imitation, it looks like, Kirk. You bet.
Spenrath still having words with Kevin Malgunas, who is escorted off finally. Well, at the end of the period, I'm not sure if we're going to have any penalties or not. At the end of the period, the score, Americans 3, Thunderbirds 1. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right, we're back here live once again at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. I'm Tony Ott, looking at a scoreboard that says the Americans 3 and the Seattle Thunderbirds 1. And it was a period of up and down hockey once again, very similar to that first period of play. But the Americans were able to get one marker and pad that lead by 2. They lead at 3-1. Here's how it looked in that second period of play. Calvin Nibbs gets the late period goal, 17:42, a power play marker. He gets the assist from Steve Rennie. As the Americans were working the rush up past the Seattle Thunderbird blue line, they were able to get it to the right side. Steve Rennie dishes the puck back behind him. A nice drop back pass to Calvin Nibbs. Calvin Nibbs, using his smarts, the veteran skills he does have, and he used the Seattle Thunderbirds players, the defensive men, to screen out Danny Lorenz. He lets the wrist shot fly. It goes right through the 5-hole into the net. It lights the lamp. The Americans get the third marker of the evening. The big story in the period, however, is not a pretty one for the Tri-City Americans. Billy Lindsay, he goes down at 16:57 at center ice, clutching on to his right knee. He had to be escorted off the ice and down into the Americans' dressing room. We still do not have the word on that, but the pain was seen all the way up here into the box. We know Billy Lindsay is a tough customer, and we are hoping he can be back out there for that third period. Right now, it does not look pretty as Billy Lindsay goes down, and that is not what the Americans need. They need all the expertise that Billy Lindsay can do, the second highest rookie scorer in the Western Hockey League this season. Power plays, well, I'll tell you what, the Americans, they've had their chances on the extra man as they had 5 power play opportunities in that second period of play, only converting on one of them. The T-Birds, however, they had 3. And they were shut down in the second period on the extra man, and there were some great defensive plays by the Americans and by the T-Birds for that matter. As the score says it all, it's a very close and exciting hockey game here at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. 3-1 Americans. We'll be back in just a moment to talk with Kevin Maxwell, who is the Western Scout of the Philadelphia Flyers. Back right after this. We're back once again live at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. I'm Tony Ott. Joining me now up here in the broadcast booth is Kevin Maxwell, Western Scout for the Philadelphia Flyers of the National Hockey League. And Kevin, first off, we want to welcome you here to the Tri-Cities Coliseum, and welcome to the second intermission portion of our broadcast tonight. Kevin, you're looking out there, your opinions tonight. What do you think of this hockey game after 2 periods?
Well, I think that Tri-Cities could have very well easily, packed up their bags and headed for the golf courses, but it looks like they've come out to play, and with the exception of their power play, they've been in the game at all times, and Olaf Kolzig's made some big saves when they needed it, so I'm sure they're looking forward to the third period and hopefully going on into Seattle.
I know that the Americans do not want to leave a sour taste in the Tri-City Americans fans' mouths. They want to leave out of the Coliseum winning this contest. If they have to lose it, they'd rather lose it on foreign ice. They do not want to lose at home, and this has been a good barn for them. They've been able to win a lot here in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's been a definite seventh man, so to speak. The fans here have been great. I know as a scout, it's fun to come down here and watch it and see the fans get into it. It's kind of sad the adversity that's gone on this year in this organization, but it's a credit to the kids and the coaching staff to pull things together when they had to, and it looks like they're going to pull it together, at least for tonight anyway.
Philadelphia Flyers organization, of course, I'm not sure after tonight's contest, are they still in the battle for the final playoff spot?
Well, we had to win tonight. We had to get some help from Buffalo for us to have any kind of a chance at all. We have a game tomorrow, too, but it's been a tough year also for our organization, but we feel that we have enough character that when the dealing's done, we're going to be there. But if we don't, we'll be back again next year, and we'll bring in some kids and see what happens.
Bobby Clark, of course, general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, an old Westerner himself. He played his hockey out here with the Flin Flon Bombers. What's really surprising to me, however, is that Philadelphia generally picks out there on the East Coast. You guys going to start changing your ways a little bit and come out here to the West?
Well, it's a good question, Tony. I think it really doesn't come down to that. It's just that when you're picking, as a rule, Philadelphia, we've picked around 14 or 15, and by the time you get around there, a lot of the so-called Westerners are gone, and it's not a matter of East-West when it gets down to that. It's just you take the best athlete available. And this year we're going to have, looks like, if we don't make the playoffs, we'll pick between third and fifth, and there's definitely going to be some players there that are from the West, including Peter Nedved and Scott Sissons and a few other people that are going to be right around that area. So I don't think it's a question of that, but We have looked at it from that point, and it's very observant by you to be noticing that, because we've actually looked over our situation too as to the East-West situation.
Bobby Clark was in the building last year, and that's one of the things he made the reference of himself. He says, you know, I'm a graduate of this league. I know the style of play out here. Problem is, as you mentioned and pointed out yourself, is that you're down there farther in the draft. And generally, the Flyer organization, the teams, they are a team that's sitting up there in playoff contention each year. And it's an unfortunate situation that you got to depend on help this year and get some and get yourself a win, by the way, by tonight. And I don't have any score on tonight's game. Do you have it by chance?
No, we don't. I think you brought up another good point, Tony. It's kind of tough when you not only have to help yourself, but you have to get help from somebody else. That just means that you've had a mediocre year, and that's basically what's happened. We've kind of dug ourselves the grave, and now we have to dig ourselves out of it. But also, we need help from somebody else. So it's been a struggle, but I don't have to tell the Tri-City American people it's been a struggle, because they've been in a dogfight themselves all year.
When we come back, we'll talk more with Kevin Maxwell about the future of General Manager Bobby Clark. He has been really looked at by the press back on the East Coast, and I'll tell you what, Mr. Clark, he's a legend, and I think they should still keep him there. He is a Flyer through and through. We'll be back to talk with Mr. Maxwell in just a moment. The Americans lead it 3-1 over the T-Birds in the second intermission. We'll be back right after this. Back here live once again, I'm Tony Ott talking with Kevin Maxwell, Western Scout for the Philadelphia Flyers. And Kevin, we were just talking as far as the future of your general manager, Bobby Clark, the legend Bobby Clark. They've got a trophy named after him here in this Western League, and it would sure be a shame to see him go, but then again, that happens in this business.
Well, you know, it's an interesting business. I've been virtually in it all my life, but the pro hockey business, you have to win, and it doesn't matter who you are. But we feel that we made some moves before the trading deadline to show that we're going to go with some youth, and if we get in the playoffs, fine. If not, we're going to try and rebuild, and we hope that the ownership of the Philadelphia Flyers stay by Bobby Clark, because it's not from a lack of work, as you well know. He worked hard all his life as far as a player, and it's taken right through the management level. And not to mention this, he's a super person too. So I think that they'll bide with him, and we'll show him what we're made of.
You guys did something this last couple of months that a lot of people in the National Hockey League are probably going to stand up and take notice, and that was, of course, the signing of Len Barry. And bringing Len Barry on board, that was probably, I would say that had a lot to do with you as well, didn't you? You were out here taking a hard, long look at him.
Well, of course, I was out here. It was one of those things, Tony, where you're not looking at him because he was already drafted, but he kept jumping out at you. So we made a few calls, and we got some people in to see him, and we've done our homework as best we could on him. We know that there's some situations where he's not totally a great hockey player, but for what we needed, we thought that our center is our weakest spot in our organization, and you don't score close to 200 points and not do something right. So we just feel that he was what the doctor ordered, and it remains to be seen whether we were right or wrong. But like I say, you can only do your homework so much, and we felt we did it.
You know, we're talking about the fact that the Flyer organization really doesn't go out to the West, but another Westerner you do have, and probably the most notorious net miner in the league, and that, of course, is Mr. Hextall, Ron Hextall from Brandon. Mr. Ole Kolzig, that's his idol, and he plays a lot like him.
Yeah, he certainly does. Ron Hextall has taken a lot of heat, as has Bobby Clark, throughout the year. But the one thing that Hextall has done, he came within one game of winning the Stanley Cup Stanley Cup for us, and people always forget that when all the adversity sets in. And we just think he's such a competitor. He brings our team a notch above what we are. And you're right. When Olaf Kolzig is on, he's definitely a Hextall type of guy that can carry us. So you never know. If Ole gets hot in the next couple of games, it may not be over.
That's right. Real quickly, Kevin, before we let you go here, is that next year, or this summer, the National Hockey League going to sit down. They're going to talk a lot about the crease violations that a lot of the forwards running, charging in, and really taking advantage of some of these smaller net miners in the league. What do you think that's going to lead to?
Well, that's another good question. I know that Andy Moog, who is a good friend of mine, he's come right out and spoke against the National Hockey League. Personally, I didn't really notice it. They were taking too many liberties, but I guess the goaltenders union, if there is a union, such a thing, they decided that there is a bunch of running around going on, and I guess, like you say, the NHL is going to have to take a look at it. The referee in chief obviously has got to take a hard, long look. If it's some of the goaltenders are really, going to the press about it, then obviously it must be some kind of a problem.
All right. Kevin, take care. Good luck to the Philadelphia Flyer organization. Hope to see you again next year, okay?
Okay, thanks again, Tony.
All right. Kevin Maxwell with Philadelphia Flyers organization. He's been our guest in this second intermission. We'll take the timeout. We'll come back. The third period is about to get underway. The Tri-City Americans lead the Seattle Thunderbirds by a score of 3-1. Back after this.
Back at the Tri-Cities Coliseum, I'm Kirk Williamson along with Tony Ott as we get ready for period number 3. Well, this first 2 periods of this game, Tony, are more like what I expected. From game 1, the teams seem to be trying to find an opening, feeling each other out. So far, even though the Americans have a 3-1 lead, I don't think either team has really come uncorked.
They've been outshot as well, 26-15 in the 2 periods. Last period, 11-8 in favor of the Birds.
Couple of penalties late in the at the 20-minute mark. Spenrath and Gervais each getting 2 for illegal use of the mouth. Now Bowen chases the puck up the left wing into the Seattle zone. Simon puts a stick on it and gets the icing call with Bowen in hot pursuit, but Darcy Simon got to it first. 19:43 on the clock, third period. 3-1 Americans. Back on this Cable 15 KTCR simulcast. Face-off won by the Thunderbirds in the Tri-City zone. Trying to work it out is Turner Stevenson. He gets a stick in McNutt's face and will get a high sticking call, and I think it will go against Turner Stevenson. It will, as he's being escorted off the ice. Well, the Americans coaches and management have still been yelling at Derek Klosky, Tony, about the way he's been calling this game. And the fact is, power plays were 5-3 for the Americans in that second period.
And also, Kirk, the Americans have only been able to capitalize on 1 of their 6 opportunities. This will be their 7th opportunity tonight, and they do have the advantage on the scoreboard, however, 3-1. And we do have a report about Bill Lindsay.
Talked with Al Patterson a few minutes ago. Lindsay will probably not be back tonight. It looks like a maybe strained ligaments, and that is not a kind of thing you want to hear midway in the 6th game of a playoff series,
Not
even
at all.
if you are behind. Maybe especially when you're behind. Seattle with a 4-1 lead in this series. You might call it a commanding lead, but the Americans playing with great heart, trying to make a comeback. Nibbs splits the defense. Nibbs shot! Just missed on the short side. Comes around to the right, kept in by Dan Shustenka. Driven down into the right corner. Rennie and Degner fighting for the loose puck. Picked up now by Levens. Levens starts in, but Vince Bowe drives it out of there. Cut off by Dirksen at the blue line. Dirksen, Nibbs. Dirksen chopped down by Kevin Malgunas. Puck fired in beside the Seattle net. Bilodeau has it. Drives it around to the right point. Dirksen cuts it down. Whoop, Degner overskated it, and the T-Birds find a lane and get rid of it. It's on goal. Kolzig has to leave it beside the net. He'll leave it for Calvin Nibbs. Nibbs, the pride of Bow Island, steps out right straight up the middle. Calvin Nibbs gets it ahead to Reeves. Reeves, a long-distance shot, save Lorenz. Well, that's almost a frustration shot, Tony, as Reeves dialed up Danny Lorenz's area code from way outside the blue line and cranked one, but Lorenz had it all the way.
Kyle Reeves, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points in this playoff. Here's the gentleman that led the WHL in power play goals this season, 37 of them, and he has really been cooled off by the stingy defense of the Seattle Thunderbird organization.
58 seconds remaining in the power play, and the penalty to Turner Stevenson. 18-19 to go, second period. Game 7 will be tomorrow in Seattle, assuming the Americans can hold on to the win. Jakes at the blue line. Jakes drives it down beside the net. Tried to find Sandwith. Sandwith cut off by Stu Malgunas. Puck comes out to the neutral zone. Barnes with it. Stewie Barnes lifting it into the Seattle zone. Simon and McNutt chase it into the corner. Comes off to Simon. McNutt crumples in the corner. McNutt is hurt, and the puck is shot back into the Tri-City zone.
Oh, my. You know what that is, Kurt? Is that the wing?
That looks like the famous McNutt shoulder.
Oh, my. And he is whistling for Mr. Mark Stratton to come on out, and that is exactly what it is. He is holding on to the right shoulder, and he knew exactly what it was. Steve McNutt has had that happen a few times in his career.
Well, he bulked up over the summertime.
Oh, that's just
and
a shame.
thought maybe that he had built up enough muscle tissue around that shoulder to keep it from coming out, but it looks like such is not the case now.
My, oh my.
17:55 to go in the period. 3-1 Americans. Will take a timeout on this AM 1340 Cable 15 simulcast. Back at the Tri-Cities Coliseum, face-off will be Vic Gervais and Stuart Barnes. You're going to see Barnes moving to a forward slot now for the Americans, most likely, as McNutt is gone. The Americans needing another centerman. They were double shifting McNutt last night and did it some tonight. Spenrath and Bowe into the corner. Spenrath loses his stick, tries to kick the puck to Barnes. Barnes throws it out in the slot. Kevin Malgunas takes it away, and Dirksen will go back to run it down. 17 seconds left in the power play. Dirksen wheels to the left side, around a pick from Barnes. Up the left wing, shot. Dirksen saved Lorenz. Loose puck. Spenrath can't get to it. Barnes does. Barnes in the left corner, throws it out front. Jake save Lorenz! What a save by Danny Lorenz.
Danny Lorenz standing on his head as he stops the shot from Steve Jakes, who is whistling right down through the slot. Pretty pass from Stewie Barnes, placed it right on the blade. Jakes with the 9-iron shot, tries to go upstairs with it, and there's Danny Lorenz with a great glove save, and he goes right around to the left side of the post. He sits there, looks back up into the U section, and says, I caught that?
Yeah, he certainly did. The puck wound up looking like the top of an ice cream cone, sticking out the top of that big Trapper glove. Face-off right circle. Seattle zone. Lorenz's left-hand glove side. Goodall and Rennie. Dogger wins the draw. Back up front now. Right side Virtue. Redirect by Bowen. Can't get it to go. Bowen with it at the left hash mark. Bowen firing it down low. Bilodeau's all over him. Now they shoot it out in the right corner to Nibbs. Nibbs, Virtue, shot, save. Lorenz, and it comes off to Turner Stevenson. Bangs it off the glass. Kozowski as the power play ends. The Americans 1 for 7 with a man advantage. Now Stevenson breaks into the Tri-City zone. Puck goes to the right side. Fired out by the Thunderbirds. Nibbs can't get rid of it. Now they finally bang it off the wall. Virtue brings it up. Terry Virtue tied up by Bilodeau. Backboard is Stu Malgunas. Back into the Tri-City zone. Sherstenka will go back for it. Dan Sherstenka, native of Edmonton, bounces it off the wall, but it's picked up by the Thunderbirds. Darcy Simon to Goodall. Is Nedved getting a regular shift? I haven't seen him of late here. Shot taken by Goodall. Bounces off the wall. Americans with it out in the neutral zone. Nope. Cut off by Goodall. But picked up by Virtue. Shift change Tri-Cities. Virtue fires it in. And the Thunderbirds have it. Simon behind the net. That looks like Bill Lindsay back on the ice for the Americans. It certainly is Bill Lindsay. And that's good news. Puck comes back out to the neutral zone. Sherstenka drives it back in.
And there he goes.
Lindsay coming off the ice again. He's obviously sore. Puck bounced off the wall to McCausland. McCausland nearly losing it to Spenrath, but Ballas and Goodall break in. 2-on-2. Goodall around behind Ballas. Penalty coming. Shot save. Kolzig. McCausland. Big hit on him. And we get the whistle. McCausland and Spenrath and Dirksen and Jakes. Now,
Farrell is also going to get ticketed.
well, Dirksen reached over there and laid about 3 shots on McCausland over the linesman's shoulder. Linesmen hate that, and referees hate it even more.
And I think this will add up against the Tri-City Americans. Scott Farrell steps into the sin bin. Also, Devin Dirksen, he's trying to plead a case to Blosky. No good there, and he goes in. And this will be 2 penalties against the Americans.
Creating a 5-on-3.
Oh, my, oh, my. This will get the Seattle Thunderbirds. They can actually get right back into this contest very, very quickly. Coach Rick Kozovak, he is standing at the gate there, and he is screaming.
Farrell for the slash, Dirksen for the roughing. And that will create a 5-on-3.
And he just let that thing slam. Oh, Coach Kozovak is really upset.
Well, Blosky has already dinged him once for coming on the ice. Face-off run by Seattle. Nedved with it. Up to Goodall. Goodall, right, Malgunas goes left for Nedved. Hook checked away by Jakes. Goodall gets it in the left point. Back to Gervais. Gervais, a slap shot. Saved up front by Rennie. Great shot by Rennie. And you hear the crowd coming alive here in the Coliseum. Minute 39 in the 5-on-3. Up the right side, Goodall. Goodall breaks in ahead of Kozlowski. Goodall to the hash mark, leaves it right for Gervais. Vic Gervais wheels in behind the net. Gervais throws it out to Nedved. Nedved shot, save, Kolzig, Jakes with it. Bangs it off the glass, and Stu Malgunas cuts it down. Malgunas right to Goodall, back to Nedved. Left, Malgunas, Nedved top of the slot, right for Goodall. Goodall had broken to the net. Hit the referee, though, and he saved it. Redirection by Gervais and saved by Kolzig, and Glennie gets rid of it again. Minute 2 left in the power play. Here's set of penalty killers. Goodall lined up by Sustenka. And it's batted at by Nib. But Malgunas with it down the slot, save, Kolzig, rebound, save, and Nib knocks it away. Nedved with it, goes left to Malgunas, to Nedved, top of the left, right circle, now to Malgunas, back to Nedved. Malgunas, top of the slot, shot, save, Kolzig. Goodall has to run it down in the corner. Sandwich buried by Malgunas. Goodall with it, right side, Gervais, left, shot, save, Kolzig, on point blank. Malgunas goes right, Gervais. This time Sustenka knocks it down. Gervais stops it across the slot left. Goodall shot, save. Kolzig save. Only the goalie standing on his head. 14 seconds left in the double minor. Kozlowski outside the blue line. Goes left to Nedved. 5 seconds. And we get an offside call against Seattle.
Great play by Olaf Kolzig.
Only the goalie brings them to their feet. Showing you why he was the #1 draft pick by the Washington Capitals last year. Very unusual for a goaltender to go in the first round, but that's what the Capitals saw in Ole the goalie.
Holy moly, do we have a goalie. There it is, Kurt. No wonder they wrote it.
3-1, America's leading the Seattle Thunderbirds in Game 6 of the playoff series. Game 7 will be tomorrow in Seattle Center Coliseum. 2 seconds, 1 left. Penalty's over. They successfully killed the 5-on-3. Seattle 1 for 7. Farrell breaks into the Seattle zone. Farrell left, Dirksen shot, save. Puck goes into the corner. It'll be against Seattle. A high sticking call as Farrell is taken down.
Scotty Farrell taken right down inside the blue line, mid-center slot area, actually, as he was just hatcheted down, and Al Konitsky will be whistled for the penalty. Power play opportunity for the Tri-City Americans. They're 8th on the evening.
Both teams 1 for 8 on the power play, or 1 for 7 on the power play, rather. The Americans getting their 7th opportunity, and a 5-minute major going against not Konitsky, but Brent Bilodeau. A major penalty, and the Americans a chance to really pile it on.
Well, and Konitsky went off the ice. They may change that up there on the board. Konitsky, we'll wait for the official. But they have whistled a 5-minute major penalty. That means the Tri-City Americans can score as many times as they wish with the man advantage for 5 minutes.
Well, Bilodeau's still on the ice. Let's see who they're going to bring out. It was a 5-minute major, apparently with an attempt to injure. Now they're asking for referee Blofsky to come over to the scorer's table as they try to sort things out here. Blofsky calling the 5-minute major penalty. The thing about the major is you can score as many times as you can find the net. It doesn't end with the first goal, which means the Americans could really pour it on here in the 3rd period. Well, McCausland going to the penalty box as we'll get the call in just a second here from Tom Layton.
Penalty to #5, Brent Bilodeau, a 5-minute major for high sticking, plus an automatic game misconduct at 6:27.
Well, it'll be Garen McCausland to serve the penalty for Bilodeau as Bilodeau gets the gamer.
And where's Konitsky, though? Now, Konitsky went down into the locker room, and he went down inside there. They're going to have to talk about that. I don't have any problems with Konitsky and Bilodeau being off the ice, to be honest with you, Kurt.
Well, I don't either, but I don't think they threw Konitsky off.
There it is. They changed it up. It is again Al Kaninsky.
Yep, it is. That took a while. Puck goes in behind the Seattle net, and now back into the Tri-City zone. Yeah, they corrected that. Loose puck picked up by Nedved. Nedved right circle, shoots, save Dirksen. Hit his stick way out front. Dirksen wheels behind the net. 3-1. Tri-Cities leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. Dirksen drives it in left of the net. Comes off the wall to Lorenz and is teed up by Vince Bowe. Driven back into the neutral zone. Picked up by Goodall. Taken off by Dirksen. Goodall to the left side. Has it picked off his stick by Reeves. Here comes Reeves. Spenrath and Barnes. Reeves feathering it in. Reeves is tied up. Spenrath is hauled down. Barnes goes in after it. He can't get to it. Stu Malgunas with it. Now Spenrath pops Malgunas. Puck comes off to Gervais in the corner. Gervais tries to tee it up. Won't. Fires it into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig stops it. Lays it off to Dan Scherstenka. Scherstenka to Reeves, where we got a two-line call against the Americans.
All the emotion shifting over to the Tri-City American side as they know that they do not want to leave out of this building, Kirk, with a loss on their heads, especially the veterans such as Ole the goalie. He is just playing outstanding tonight. He is down in there. Steve Jakes, he knows that this could be his final game. He wants to leave the Coliseum with a big W. Lots of players out there. Stewie Barnes, he also wants to do good tonight. It's an emotional-filled contest. The Americans lead at 3-1.
Well, if the Americans win tonight and tomorrow night, quick shot by Chapman, save Kolzig, comes off to Farrell. Puck goes into the left corner. Picked up, right circle. Here comes Degner out to the neutral zone. Backhanded away by Vince Bowe. Picked up by Farrell. Goes right to Scherstenka. Scherstenka right straight up the middle. Dan Scherstenka goes right to Nibbs. Calvin Nibbs wheels around Vince Bowe. Nibbs around to Levens. Levens with it. Throws it loose. Right circle. And it's shot out of there by Kaninsky. As Scherstenka couldn't hold it in. 11:53 to go in the hockey game. Scherstenka left Farrell. Whoop, got by Bilodeau. Picked up by Degner. Degner goes in around Chapman. Degner pulls up in the left corner. Terry Degner back up front to Farrell. Farrell a drive. That one hits Chapman. Plays it down low to Degner. Degner underneath around behind the net to Nibbs. Nibbs tried to throw it into the slot. Cut off his stick by Bowe. Bowe out to Kaninsky. Picked up off the loose puck. Picked up by Degner. Messy shift change. Levens. Levens offside. The call as Levens had an opportunity and couldn't make it go.
Quick recap of what has happened in this contest so far. Billy Lindsay gets the Americans on the board first at 2:53 of the first. Seattle comes right back. Vic Gervais with the only T-Bird goal. Power play 10-18, and Terry Degner rounds out the scoring in the first period. It's Americans 2, Seattle 1. The Americans add their third marker of the evening on Calvin Nibbs. Power play marker 17:42. It's 3-1 Tri-Cities, 11:23 remaining in the third period.
Goodall and Barnes. Goodall wins the draw. Goodall brings it up the right wing boards. Glenn Goodall into the right circle. Goodall bumped off the puck by Steve Jakes. They shovel for it along the right wing boards, and we got a whistle to stop the play. They'll face it off at just outside the Tri-Cities blue line. Ole Kolzig playing as big in goal tonight as we had hoped he would from the beginning of the series.
Just was informed by Barry Kilburn, the gentleman responsible for all the ticket sales here at the Coliseum. He has told me that if the Americans win tonight and tomorrow night, tickets for the playoff game on Tuesday will go on sale 8 a.m. here at the Coliseum
on
Monday
morning. And I promise not to be awake to see it. Reeves cutting to the middle for the Americans. Reeves, blue line. Tri-Cities power play continues. Barnes holds it in, goes left to Dirksen. Dirksen, a slap shot. Ooh, it hit Kevin Malgunas' stick. Kept alive by Spenrath. Back to Dirksen. Dirksen out to Jakes. Whoop. Jakes went the wrong way. Back up to Jakes off the wall. Jakes out into the neutral zone. Shift change Seattle. Jakes through the middle. Jakes to the right side. Jakes shot. Save Lorenz. Jakes is upended. Puck chopped off the wall to Jakes. Gets it to Reeves. Back to Jakes. Oh, they get it to Spenrath, but Kozlowski has it. Drives it right by Barnes. Back into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig off the wall to Dirksen. Devin Dirksen wheels. He brings it up. Dirksen right to Barnes. Barnes across the blue line. Goes left to Dirksen for Reeves. Reeves left left hash mark. Reeves with it. Reeves back cross ice to Farrell. Farrell's shot. Hits the stick. Barnes throws it right back. Farrell, another drive. And Seattle able to make the save and throw it out of there as Lorenz and Spenrath tie up. Kolzig, the pass out to Dirksen. Kozowski and Farrell go after the puck. Loose puck. Malgunas goes after him. We have a whistle, player down. That was Kozowski, I believe.
And it is a Seattle T-Bird, and I cannot see who it is.
Trainer Kurt Camp coming out on the ice, being escorted by the linesman. I believe it's Peter Kozowski. And with that the case, 9:50 to go in the hockey game. 3-1 Americans. We'll be back after this. $9:50 to go in the hockey game.
Peter Kozowski led off the ice. He actually went off under his own power. He is the T-Birds' top point man. Boy, Peter Anholt does not want to see that.
Breakaway Seattle's Gervais, but he's in traffic. Down he goes. Puck picked up along the wall by Degner. Degner cuts to the middle. Terry Degner across the red line. Degner right point. Carries it in. Leaves it for Nibbs. Nibbs hauls it into the corner. Pulls up. Tri-City's power play continuing. They have not been able to score on this 5-on-4 on the 5-minute major. Schustanka shot. Levin shot. Save. Degner shot. He's carried behind the net. Danny Lorenz standing on his head. Out to Farrell. Farrell goes left to Nibbs. 45 seconds in the 5-on-4. Farrell, left point, goes left to Nibbs. Calvin Nibbs goes to Degner beside the net. They throw it out front, but Kevin Malgunas knocks it away. 34 seconds left in the power play. 9 minutes to play. Farrell brings up. Farrell a blast. Misses beside the net. Comes off. Hits the net. Bilodeau drives it out, but it's held in by Schustanka. Schustanka, Levins now. Levins has it chopped away. Whoop, went up in the air. Levins couldn't see it. And back into the Tri-City zone. Kolzig will leave it for Jakes. Jakes wheels. Steve Jakes to Levins. Darcy Simon gets on it. Simon and Levins collide. Jakes along the wall. Back to Spenrath. He drops it back to Stewie Barnes. Barnes away from Goodall. McCausland back on the ice. The power play's over. The Americans 1 for 8 on the power play. Spenrath hauls it in. Drops it for Dirksen. Loose puck picked up by the T-Birds. Here comes Goodall. 8:20 to play. Goodall across the blue line. Shot saved Kolzig. Jakes with it. Fires it out along the wall for Reeves. All the way back. McCausland picks it up. Simon with it at his own blue line. His shot picked up by Jakes. Jakes left Dirksen. Dirksen a slapper and hits his stick. Goes way up into section B.
And he breaks the stick as well as he takes a blistering slap shot. Devin Dirksen down the left side right on top of the left circle. He fires one and it gets broken. The stick breaks, but the puck was actually deflected by a Seattle T-Bird, and it went sailing up into the V section, probably in the 15th, 16th row. A souvenir in the WHL.
Hang on to that handle. It'll be we can use it to hold the celly doors open on the bus. 3-1 Americans leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. Don't get me started. Nedved and Dirksen, top of the left circle. Loose puck. Nedved with it, but Sandwith cuts it off. Sandwith dumping it back in, but Simon is there. Simon for Seattle up the right wing. Simon, headman pass to Nedved, finds Stevenson. Straight hip check there by Sandwith as he takes Turner Stevenson off. Nedved throws it into the slot. Farrell goes after it. Farrell ahead of Nedved. Farrell trying to find Reeves. Can't. And Lorenz dumps the puck into the corner. Oh, Lorenz goes down as Reeves is thrown into him. But Seattle with the puck. Kozowski breaks in. 3-on-2. Leaves it for Stevenson. Breakaway shot. Save Kolzig. Nedved. Save Kolzig. Holy, the goalie comes up big again.
Turner Stevenson all by himself goes over the blue line. He's down the slot. He looks to go which side. Ole sizes him up. Stevenson goes to the forehand, tries to put it right between the 5-hole. No good. Ole blocks that one. Then Peter Nedved has his shot. Peter Nedved tries to stuff it home, and Ole lays right on top of the puck. He is saving that 2-goal lead. It's the Americans still 3, Seattle 1.
Holy moly, look at Ole. Face-off left circle in the Tri-City zone. A shot by Bowe. Hits the stick, goes down behind the net. Jakes goes down, manages to kick it loose to Nibbs. Nibbs firing around behind the net, goes into the left corner. Schustanka bangs it off the glass for Rennie. Rennie lifts it out to the neutral zone and hits Nibbs. Nibbs will drop it, he'll bring it up. Nibbs in traffic. Calvin Nibbs, Bowen offsides, gets back onside. Nibbs throws it into the slot. Rennie can't take it, can't get it. Picked up by Gervais. Gervais, blue line. Headman Vallis. Vallis, blue line left. Gervais to the right, under pressure. Shot save, Kolzig. Rebound save, Kolzig. Loose puck, Scherstenka. They're unable to get it loose as it's tied up along the boards. Now Goodall gets on it. Goodall tries to backhand stuff. They kick it out again as Gervais goes down. Puck comes out to Bowen. Bowen's pass cut down by Vallis. Vallis chopping it right back, but Scherstenka picks it up as Jakes keeps his man down. Scherstenka breaks in. Throws the puck out into the slot. Nibbs hauled down. Nibbs sweeping it around behind the net as Jakes was all over Glenn Goodall.
I tell you, I got something to say about that one.
Side said it was Purdy. Goodall, penalty coming against the Americans. As this time Sandwith will get called for Rodeo and Vallis out at the blue line. Jakes and Goodall, Tony.
Well, I'll tell you something about the Glenn Goodall good fall. Glenn Goodall has been around this league now for 6 years. He's a solid, he is the dean of the WHL, and he's down there in the slot area trying to head up on ice while the Americans were heading up on their rush. Well, he is being checked from behind by Steve Jakes, and he gives the best performance I've seen in a one-act hockey game. I have never in my life seen any kind of fall like that. He just totally took the dive, and right on top of him was Steve Jakes, and he laid on top of him and put the stick right on his face. And they started, and I know that they had something to say to each other about it. I'll tell you what, that was a good play by Steve Jakes for just laying on top of him because he deserved it.
Rennie gets 2 for hooking, and the Thunderbirds get their 8th power play of the night. Seattle 1 for 7, the Americans 1 for 8. 6:11 to play. Faceoff will come in the Tri-City zone, top of the left circle. That's Kolzig's right hand or stick side. Benrath, Levens, Jakes, and Barnes, the penalty killers. Jakes having a word with Levens. Levens will face it off. Face off, won by Levens. Shot back into the Seattle zone. Levens losing a glove, gets it back, and chases in behind the net on Stu Malgunas. Malgunas steps the other way. Outlet pass comes to Goodall. Goodall up the middle. Glenn Goodall cuts left. Goodall drop pass Kozowski. Kozowski steers around one player, whips around, leaves it behind the net for Goodall. Throws it out to Nedved. Has it poked away. Nedved goes after it. Drives it right back to Jakes. Jakes and Levens up the wall. Here comes Jakes to the middle. Jakes in ahead of Levens. Throws it to the right side. Nedved will go after it for Seattle. Shift change, Tri-Cities. Here comes Nedved up the middle. Nedved cuts to the right on Nibbs. Nedved stays right with the puck, goes to the right hash mark. Nedved in traffic, throws it into the right corner for Stu Malgunas. Malgunas and Barnes fight for the puck. Now Nibbs dumping Malgunas. Kozowski down to Stevenson. Stevenson left to the net to Goodall. Goodall smothered by Scherstenka. And Dirksen with the puck shoots it back into the Seattle zone. Penalty coming.
Both of them, Glenn Goodall and Dan Scherstenka, taking the trip over to the box. To be quite honest with you, I don't mind seeing Glenn Goodall go off for a trade for Dan Scherstenka. That'll keep the spark plug off the ice for a couple of minutes. Glenn Goodall, who holds 4 WHL records this year. He has got most goals in a career, most games played in a career, most points in a career. He also has one that he's tied with a Tri-City American, Calvin Nibbs, for 3 short-handed markers in one contest.
Coincidental roughing minors against Goodall and Scherstenka. 5:09 remaining in the hockey game. 3-1 Tri-Cities leading the Thunderbirds. Puck goes right to Bilodeau. Bilodeau firing it in left to the Americans' goal. Jakes there, drives it out. Foot races on. It'll come off the wall to Lorenz. Lorenz with Dirksen cruising in. Lorenz will control the puck. Nibbs goes in on it. Now Lorenz makes the play off the wall left to Bow. Back up the middle, and we got a whistle 2-line pass. They'll bring it back into the Thunderbird zone. Well, the T-Birds have kind of lost their thunder in this game. I thought they'd come out after last night's game in Seattle, Tony, and really be flying. But both of these teams have a mental problem with playing in the other team's building.
Would you call that home ice advantage?
I think it's more than that. I think probably a good dressing room shrink might be in order. Maybe Dr. Joy can help.
There we go.
Because they're two different teams. Also, though, Seattle doesn't suffer from the evil twin syndrome quite like the Americans do. Gervais steps in. Barnes pokes it away. Shot by Kozlowski following. Save Kolzig with the glove. Loose puck behind the net. Barnes, and he fires it right out the middle again. 20 seconds left in the penalty. It's on goal. Lorenz has to leave it for Bo. Bo dumping it back behind the net. The Americans won't get to it, though. 12 seconds left in the power play. Kozlowski up the right wing boards. Tries to headman Gervais, but Barnes has it. Barnes wheels around away from Ballas. Ballas dumps it beside the net. Ballas tries to throw it in the middle, but Spenrath ties him up. Up to Gervais. He goes left. Malgunas shot save Kolzig. And Rennie chases it into the corner. Power play's over. 1 for 8. Puck's loose in the slot. Save Kolzig again on a big shot by Gervais. Here come the Americans. 2-on-1. Levens with Rennie. Ooh, Rennie just overskated the puck. Picked up by Stu Malgunas. The Americans back. Malgunas up the left wing. Stu Malgunas dumping it in and dumped left of the net. Farrell goes in to get it. Farrell wheels. Scott Farrell right straight up the middle. Steps around Nedved. Whoop. Nedved tied him up. Stole the puck. 2-on-1 on Kolzig. Nedved shot save. Only the goalie. Backhand shot Zavisha. Save Kolzig. And he puts the lumber to Zavisha. And Zavisha wants to go after Kolzig. I say let him go ahead.
My, oh my, Ole the goalie pulling out his best Ron Hextall imitation. And he did. He laid the Vic on Zavisha. Wow. Ole Kolzig playing just super hockey tonight.
As it says on the scoreboard, Kolzig stacking bricks for the Americans. 3-1. Tri-Cities leading Seattle.
Well, I already tell you who my vote for star of the game is.
Pretty hard to argue that one.
Woo.
3-1. Tri-Cities leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. Rennie and Nedved. Puck fired in behind the net. Jakes will pick it out of there. Jakes brings it up. Steve Jakes fires a pass cross ice to Nibbs. Nibbs! Breakaway Nibbs! Nibbs shoots, save, Bowen, rebound, scores! Scored off of Danny Lorenz. Calvin Nibbs will get it, I believe.
Calvin Nibbs will get the goal.
The pride of Bow Island, Alberta.
And you know who's in the building tonight? Bert Nibbs, and he's wearing yellow. He figures after they lost when they came home the first night after wearing his red, he said, we're 5-1. I've now changed it up. I'm going to wear solid yellow. And guess what? The Americans are winning right now 4-1 and looks like they're going to take it to game number 7 tomorrow night. Thanks, Bert, for wearing the yellow.
And the Americans with the puck. Sandwith brings it up. Kicked away at the blue line, but the Americans offside. Now Sandwith and Kevin Malgunas having a little yap beside the net. Now Bowen steps in. I don't know why Jason Bowen thinks he has to go in there and protect Trent Sandwith, Tony, do you? Somehow I think Sandwith can handle his own problem down there.
Taking a look here, Steve Rennie now has 6 points for the Tri-City Americans. He jumps out to the lead on the team. Calvin Nibbs has 5 goals, and he has the lead in the goal-scoring department for the team.
.251 to go in the hockey game. 4-1 Americans. Barnes losing it to Goodall. But Spenrath carries it in, tied up by Simon. Now Degner chops it loose. We have a high stick call. I think it was played off a high stick. What is the Kamloops score that we have currently?
The one that we have is 3-2 is the last report I had. Kamloops over Spokane in the second period.
Let's see if Pat Lowell can update that. Patrick, can you? 5-2 in the third. Kamloops leading the Spokane Chiefs, and the puck shot out of play. 2:39 to go. Tony Ott makes his way over to the Founders Club Lounge. We can expect to be hearing from Ole the goalie and the pride of Bow Island, Alberta, Calvin Nibs. 2:39 to go. In the third period, 4-1 Americans leading Seattle. Face-off won by Degner. Spenrath with it to Scherstenka. Goes left to Greg Spenrath. Shot in right of the Seattle net. Malgunas with it up to the middle. Spenrath will cut it down. Under 3 minutes to play. 4-1 Tri-Cities. Quick pass through the middle. Knocked down. Levens, Bowen. Goes to the Levens and Spenrath bad at it. Levens taking it off of Vallis' stick. Firing it in beside the Seattle net. Left there for Malgunas by Lorenz. Vallis with it. Vallis in traffic. Degner chasing Vallis. Vallis turns, comes up the middle. Stolen away by Levens. Levens point blank. Dribbles it across the slot. Spenrath goes down. Loose puck. Degner can't get to it. Degner holds it in. Great play by Levens. Levens buried. Degner has it poke checked away. Gervais with a stick in his face, and the puck is out of play. Off of Spenrath's stick. And now Scott Levens is down behind the net. And that'll bring trainer Steve Bailey out onto the ice for the Tri-City Americans. Levens really taken into the boards hard on the end of the rink behind the Seattle net. 4-1 Tri-Cities leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. Minute 48 to play. We'll be back right after this. Coliseum, the Americans trainer Steve Bailey being joined now by Mark Stratton as they continue to have a look at Scott Levens, and this does not look good. They're calling for Dr. Ray Canyon, and they're bringing out a backboard onto the ice. Scott Levens has not moved since he was crashed into the glass in that last flurry behind the Seattle bench. Glad to have you with us tonight on this live simulcast. AM 1340, KTCR, and Columbia Cable Channel 15. If an eighth game is necessary, it would be on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock start here in the Coliseum, and we will be here. If it sells out, we will be live on television, but only if there's a sellout. That could happen beginning Monday morning. Tickets will be available on Monday morning. They are still attending to Scott Levens. They have a backboard there. Dr. Kanya is there along with the two trainers who are both paramedics and attending to Scott Levens. Scott, I think, unconscious was the problem, and they're not sure why. A precautionary trip on the backboard will be made off the ice by Scott Levens. 4-1 Americans with a minute 48 to play. We'll be back right after this. .4-1 Americans leading the Seattle Thunderbirds. They are still attending to Scott Levens. They've slid him onto the backboard now. And a couple of messengers back and forth between the Americans bench and the ice. They may be getting a little bit more help out there. Bill Lindsay now in civvies. He came out and skated one shift and decided again it. Scott Levens still laying on the backboard. Boy, that was a good sign, though. You can see him moving his fingers. See Levens moving the fingers on his right hand, and he's apparently conscious and talking with Dr. Ray Canyon and the two Americans trainers who are down there, but so far they have not made an attempt to move Scott Levens other than to lay him flat very carefully on that backboard. Dr. Canyon now waiting. I think they may have asked for an ambulance, and it may very well be that they intend to drive it out on the ice. We'll have to wait and see. The referee and linesman talking, away from the action. Now they are picking up Scott Levens on the backboard, and will be taking him very carefully off the ice. Four of the American players, Sandwith, Bowen, Farrell, and Degner, carefully carrying Scott Levens off the ice, being helped by trainer Steve Bailey, moving him very carefully. You would not want to have him drop or fall off the backboard. And I'll tell you what, Scott Levens is a big boy. You don't you got a lot of Scott Levens hanging over the sides of that backboard. Now they're getting a lot of help as they hand him off at the end of the ice. They'll pick up what equipment is there, and we'll be back to finish the remaining 2 minutes of this game when we return on this Cable 15 AM 1340 simulcast. Back at the Tri-Cities Coliseum, the faceoff will come at the Seattle blue line as Scott Levens has left the ice now. It is Degner, Spenrath, Bowen, Jakes, and Barnes. Degner winning the draw, but Stevenson has it. Now Degner with it. Shot back to the neutral zone. Spenrath back to Barnes. Barnes goes left to Terry Degner. Degner, backhand pass, knocked away. They go right to Bowen. Bowen carries it in. Bowen and Sprague chase in after the puck. T-Birds drive it back into the Tri-City zone. Barnes is there, fires it out, cut off by Chapman. Chapman losing it to Degner, back out to the neutral zone. Fired back in by Sprague. Big collision, Barnes and Kevin Malgunas, and Spenrath is going after Malgunas. Bumps him twice for cross-checking Barnes. They'll stop the play, and I can't believe they're going to dump Greg Spenrath, but they are, in fact, going to send Spenrath off the ice. Spenrath having a word. Spenrath calls for slashing, and there goes Loring. Loring taking on Kevin Malgunas. The linesman jump on top. Brad Loring wearing self-appointed, putting on the badge as he goes after Malgunas. These two linesmen jump in the middle of a fight in progress, which isn't always the best thing you could possibly do. 18:44, the time of the penalty to Spenrath, but Loring smacking Kevin Malgunas for messing with Stu Barnes. Brad Loring goes to the penalty box. And I don't know if Malgunas, well, we're just going to have to see. We may have a major against Loring. Malgunas leaves the ice and throws his helmet back down there. And referee Blosky has not yet come over to the scorer's table. So minute 16 to go in the game. 4-1 Americans back on this Cable 15 KTCR simulcast. Back at Tri-Cities Coliseum, Greg Spenrath is in the penalty box. The referee and linesman having a chat. Loring will get probably get a misconduct for going after Kevin Malgunas while the play was stopped. But we'll have to wait and see how that all comes down. Referee Blosky talking with Tom Cowell and Lonnie Cameron, the two linesmen. Cameron, a veteran of that war last night at Seattle. These two teams will play 3 in a row with a third game tomorrow night. Now Blosky's explaining it to Shea Kilburn, who is the scorekeeper. She, in turn, will talk on the phone with husband Barry. Barry will talk with Tom Lathan, and Tom Lathan will talk with us. That sounds a little complicated, it is, but that's the way it works. Minute 16 remaining in the hockey game. Now Goodall's over there to yell at Blosky. Glenn Goodall just came racing into the referee circle, cut off by Cowell and told to get back out there where he belongs. The semicircle around the scorer's table is known as the referee circle. Players are forbidden to enter that circle. And we should have the call here just in a second from public address announcer Tom Lathan here in the Tri-Cities Coliseum. 7 minutes on the board against Brad Loring, so that's fight plus probably instigating. None of that really matters. It'll be 5-on-3 for 1:16, but Seattle down 4-1. They can't score enough goals, I don't think, to send this thing into overtime. Having said that, now you realize, now Jakes is going to go over and have a word with referee Blosky, actually with
Greg
Here
Fenrath,
it
2
is.
minutes for slashing. Number 10, Brad Loring, 2 minutes for roughing, plus an additional 2 minutes for roughing, plus 5 minutes for fighting, plus a 10-minute misconduct at 18:44.
Well, the scoreboard only says 7 minutes against Loring. That sounded like 9 to me. Loring gets 2 roughing and a fighting penalty. Referee Blosky making sure that Loring will be gone a while. That'll add to the tally. I did not hear a penalty announced against Seattle. And it'll be 5-on-3 for 1:16. Check with Barry Kilburn in a second here. Okay, there was a penalty against Seattle. At the same time, Kevin Malgunas gets 2 for roughing. So that's why Loring's only got 7 minutes on the board. Now referee Blosky goes over for a word with Jakes, the Americans' captain. They'll ask they're asking for Coach Kozovac to come out of have a word with Jakes, and Blosky comes over. I think what you got to see is 9 minutes against Loring and a 2 minute against Kevin Malgunas. It all comes out in the wash, but I think they want it up on the board. The penalty to Malgunas also was not announced here in the Coliseum, and I think they're going to check and make sure they got it all exactly according to Hoyle here. Fun to watch Paul Drake out on the ice in the first intermission, paying off that bet to Ichabod Kane in Seattle on game number 2. The ever crafty Paul Drake pulling an American's jersey out from underneath the Seattle jersey. Now the Thunderbirds win the draw. Vallis with it back in his own zone. It's 5-on-3 Seattle. Sprague up along the wall left to Chapman to Turner Stevenson. Dumps it in on goal. Kolzik makes a save, and Sandwich drills it. Dirksen is dumped by Stevenson behind the play. 53 seconds to go. Minute to go in the game. Tom Sprague steps up, goes right to Chapman. Chapman, blue line, steps in front of Sandwich. Jakes is there. Sandwich rodeos Chapman, and the puck is back into the Seattle zone. Sandwich's shot was on goal. 37 seconds left. The Americans winning game 6. Now Scherstenka steals the puck away. Scherstenka and Dirksen. Scherstenka. Well, the Americans with 4 skaters on the ice. Okay, the penalty to Malgunas and Loring evened each other out, or to Malgunas and Fenrath. So it's 5-on-4 instead of 5-on-3. Scramble for the puck. Virtue putting his man down. Now a real scramble starts behind the net on a very slow whistle. 9 seconds remaining in the period, or in the game. A lot of yapping down there behind the Seattle net. Virtue and Kevin Barrett, I believe, tangled up behind the net. Now Virtue and Chapman having a word. Jason Bowen being escorted off the ice. And Tom Sprague. So Bowen and Sprague will both go. That comes at 19:51. And we'll send Jason Bowen and Tom Sprague off the ice. 9 seconds left. Those will be coincidental roughing minors, probably. Face-off, quick shot on the face-off. Save Lorenz. Jakes drives it in beside the net. Lorenz save, 2 seconds. 1. It's over. And the Americans are still alive in the playoff series. Seattle leads it 4 games to 2, but the Tri-City Americans with a hard-fought 4-1 victory over the Seattle Thunderbirds tonight in the Coliseum, winning it over Seattle 4-1. Stay tuned, the post-game show coming right up. Over the Seattle T-Birds. We are back in the Coliseum. The scoring in the third period, Calvin Nibbs getting a marker. The assist going to Jakes and Rennie. That coming at the 16:45 mark gives Calvin Nibbs 2 goals on the night, and the Americans a 4-1 victory over the Seattle Thunderbirds. And the Americans really controlling it just about all the way. Both teams, incidentally, 1 for 8 on the power plays. Seattle out shooting the Americans, at least through the first 2 periods. We did not get the shot totals for the third period. We'll try to get those for you after a little bit. Once again, Calvin Nibbs getting 2 goals, an incredible performance by Ole the goalie, and the Americans beat the Seattle Thunderbirds 4-1 in a great playoff game. Next game will be in Seattle Center Coliseum tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock in Seattle, and we'll be there. Hope you will be too. We'll be going to the Founders Club for Tony Ott's post-game show when we return on this Cable 15 AM 1340 simulcast.
What a great contest tonight as the Americans stay alive in this best-of-9 series with a 4-1 win tonight over the Seattle Thunderbirds. And the fans here, yes, it was. And you go ahead and cheer on these Americans because they did a great job. And they came back, and they are back in this best-of-9 series. They now trail in the series 4 games to 2. And we shift our attention back now to Seattle tomorrow for game number 7. And that will be played at the Seattle Center Coliseum in the big rink, where the Americans have not won it all this year. Fact is, they've been blown out 2 out of the 3 times they've played there. And if you want to call the 10-6 loss back in January a blowout, then you can call them all 3. But the Americans are regrouping, and they really have to regroup tonight after there was a series of injuries tonight on the American squad. Steve McNutt, of course, the preliminary is his shoulder. And we'll, of course, get all the information we can on that updated as soon as the guys get up here. Scott Levens, that very nasty-looking fall towards the backboards. And from what we understand, he is being looked at right now down in the room. And from what we understand, it's somewhere in the neck area. Hopefully not serious. Next strain.
Tony?
Yes, Kurt, do you have an update on it?
Yeah, I just got off the phone with Jerry Johansson, the Americans' assistant coach, and he said that Levens has gone to the hospital where he's being checked out, but he was conscious, able to move, and apparently the situation is that he'll be back. It's not that serious.
And
that's good.
All right.
News. That's good news to hear. You bet.
Looked like we could see an ambulance going off right now. I don't know if that's right or not, guys.
Say hi to both my fans over there, too, Rick.
Yeah, there we go. And also the knee injury to Bill Lindsay, who has got possibly some strained ligaments. And coming through the door right now, let's have him just go ahead and join us on up here on stage. Mr. Ole Kolzig had a great contest tonight. Boy, Ole, I tell you, you're in prime form. Last night you played very well up in Seattle, and then you come back in here tonight, and you are just red hot and continuing to do the brilliance that we've seen and come to love here in the Tri-Cities Coliseum so many times. Great contest for you tonight.
Oh, it was a super contest because, you know, we had a few breaks there in the first period. Stewie, you know, just saved it before it went over the line, and we got a roll off that. And, you know, we finally scored on Lorenz and started taking the lead. And, you know, I didn't want to let the team down by you know, letting them tie it up or take a lead. So, you know, just like Donnie did the other night, I wanted to keep the team in there.
Ole, there were several opportunities tonight when the Seattle Thunderbirds were down on net, had you out of position. The puck was bouncing around through the crease area. There was one time down there where Stewie Barnes put the stick down and cleared that puck out of the way, and that saved a big goal. And that was at a critical time in this hockey game tonight.
Well, that's what I said. You know, I think we were up 1-0 or 2-1, or it was tied 1-1?
It was tied 1-1.
Tied 1-1, and Victor Gervais, you know, took a shot, and I kind of slowed it down, but it was on its way in, and Stewie came right out behind me, and I think he shot it back out, but it hit the back of my leg, and it just dropped, luckily, or it could have went back in. But you know, it was a great heads-up play by Barnesy, and you know, I really liked him on the point.
When you've got so many different people and so many different talents that are coming at you from the Seattle Thunderbirds, you've got to defend this in so many different ways. Peter Nedved, for example, incredible how he keeps his head up so much. You don't really know where he's going to throw the puck. And he's a great feed man. He knows how to throw the puck down inside. You've got Glenn Goodall, who's just a little pepper pot who just gets inside and uses the stick quite a bit. Vic Gervais is always around the net. Zavisha gave you a problem tonight, too, and you laid the lumber right on him tonight as well.
Well, Brad's kind of a talker. I mean, last night in Seattle, he was just, the cockiest guy I've ever seen. And, I don't really like that out of a player. If they're winning, fine, just keep it to yourself. And he was kind of showboating last night, and, I don't really like players like that.
Ole, what can the Americans do? They've come back now. They've played very, very well. It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type situation. When you go into Seattle, you get intimidated up in Seattle. What happens up there? Why in Seattle is there such a problem to win? Haven't won there all year.
Well, it's in the small rink we played well. I mean, in the small rink, other than last night, it's always been close, 1-goal games or 2-goal games. And we get in that big rink and they get on their power play and they have so much more room to move. Glenn Goodall and Victor Gervais are such good skaters that they can just burn us on the outside. And what we have to do is we have to contain them to the outside, not let them cut in, and minimize them to one shot rather than having a rebound and getting the second shot. We got to tie up our men, and I mean, we got to play one heck of a game tomorrow night. We were our backs against the wall tonight. We had no pressure because we were down 4-1, and team came out, played great, and now we got to go do this, steal one in Seattle and do the same thing here on Tuesday.
Ole, I know there was a lot of emotion in the dressing room earlier this evening. I know that the younger players, very similar to the situation last year where the veteran players knew that it could possibly be their last contest, and in front of the home fans, that's something that you veteran players don't want to do, and especially the younger guys. And that's important for the younger guys because they really rise to the occasion, and they come out and play hockey. You can see in the scores tonight, Lindsay gets the goal, Degner gets a marker. He's out of a slump now. And it really is. It's one of those things where the younger guys want to make sure that the veteran players go out a winner.
Well, I mean, I saw Greg Spenrath before the game, and he was there an hour before the game already with half his gear on, and he was so intense, that you didn't really want to lose it for him because, if we would have lost tonight, it would have been his last WHL game, and, he was pretty emotional in the dressing room there, and Steve Jakes, he was pretty bad last night, and, you want to win for guys like that. They've paid their dues in this league, and you want to try to bring them as far as you can, and the young guys just came out and played great. I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to Billy Lindsay and Scott Levens, but, they came out and played great, and, we got one more game to go.
Update on Steve McNutt. Was it the McNutt wing? Is that what's hurting him, the right shoulder?
I think his shoulder popped out again. Yeah, it's given him a lot of trouble, but, we just pop it right back in, and he's fine.
I saw that. He was working on it as he went out. All right, Tom, do we have any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. That sounds painful. Olaf, after playing the same team for 7-8 games, you've got to be sick of looking at each other. It looks like it's starting to get personal out there with especially after the last injury to Scott Levens. It appeared that emotions were high, shall we say. Are you getting tired of playing these guys? Just want to beat them and get it over with?
Well, we played them, I think, 10 times this season, and, there's no love lost between us. I mean, you come into playoffs, and it's, 10 times more emotional and intense as it is during the regular season. And when you have guys like Darcy Simon, doing that to Scott Levens, and, it does get personal. And I'm sure one of our players is going to take care of Darcy Simon tomorrow night in Seattle.
What got you into hockey?
Okay, excuse me. Ask that again, please.
What got you into hockey?
What got me into hockey? My dad, actually. We moved from Europe, and we were watching TV. We were watching Hockey Night in Canada, and a week later, my dad signed me up for minor hockey, and I've been playing since.
All right.
What's the score of the Kamloops Spokane game?
The last score that we had was that Kamloops was ahead 5-2 in the third period. Okay?
I just want to say best of luck up in Seattle, and I think you guys can do it up there, too.
I know we can do it. Thanks.
All right. Ole, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Wait, that's it. We don't have any more questions there. Ole, I'm going to let you get down there. I know it's a very happy dressing room down there. I know you guys have a team meeting. I want you to get down there and at least give our best down there to Scott Levens, Billy Lindsay, and McNutt. And tomorrow night, buddy, let's do it, okay?
Yeah,
let's come back on here Tuesday night. All right, let's take a time out. The Tri-City Americans do it to the Seattle Thunderbirds tonight, Game 6. They win it here at the Coliseum, 4-1. We'll be back in just a moment on this KTCR Cable 15 simulcast. Okay, we're back here live at the Founders Club, and we are now talking with winger Calvin Nibbs. 2 markers tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and he's on a tear, too. He's got 5 now in the playoffs, leads the team in goals. And, Calvin, you said that, what else do you expect, right? Yeah, that's it. Calvin is doing a great job out there for the Tri-City Americans. He's always out there working very hard, and that's one of the things we were talking about tonight on the broadcast about Calvin is that a lot of you fans out there saw him go down on a center ice hook, it looked like, and it was, no doubt, but the referee did not call it. We were mentioning the fact that Calvin Nibbs is one of those aggressive type hockey players that he gets out there and he may go down just due to plain aggressiveness. Well, in the leagues, in the WHL, the National Hockey League, referees will not call penalties on those kind of guys that are very aggressive. This is one of the guys. And when Calvin goes down, it's basically due to a lot of aggressiveness. But again, there are times where the penalty should be called, right, Calvin?
Oh, I don't know. When you're shorthanded, you're always trying to get them to take a penalty, and every now and then I will dive, but not that often.
Win the Academy Awards, huh?
That's right.
You know, I was talking with your father, Bert Nibbs, who is up here, and Bert was wearing some yellow the other night, and I'm not real sure if he wore the yellow again. If he went up to Seattle and wore it up there and then took the loss, and he may have changed colors on us. I'm not real sure, but that is a major inspiration in your life, isn't it, your father?
Oh yeah, he's done so much in the hockey world himself that, all he wants is to have a son to do as well as him, if not better. And right now I'm his last shot, so I'm giving him everything I got.
The last shot, huh? How you think you're doing for it?
Well, so far so good. I don't know. We'll have to wait until June to find out.
That's right, and that, of course, is he's talking about the draft coming up in June, and I got big sneaking suspicion that Calvin Nibbs is going to be going to some team coming up in that draft in June. Now, Calvin, tonight, the emotional level, the fact that you guys have come out tonight knowing that your backs were completely up against the wall, you had to win. There's no tomorrow. You win it or go golfing, which I understand you're not bad at, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that was kind of the joke around the dressing room was if we don't win, we'll get them tomorrow, meaning next year. But yeah, everyone took it to heart, and we had to come out and play our best. And everyone just pulled together, and Ole played great, and we beat Lorenz again, which helps us. And now we've got to go back into Seattle and steal a victory there.
Tell me about your first goal. It came in the second period, and it was a pretty goal. I believe it was the second period that you got your first goal, where the drop-back pass from Steve Rennie down on the right-hand side, and you were able to take that and use the defenseman as the screens, and were able to throw that puck right between Lorenz's legs.
Yeah, that's I've been working a lot on that in practice. Is try to put it between the defenseman's leg where the goalie hasn't got a clue where the puck's going, and I just got lucky. It went through the defenseman's legs and Lorenz's legs.
A lot of hitting out there. Did not look to me like it was as chippy as it has been, and I know the penalties were definitely down. But again, the box was filled most of the evening, and I say penalties were down when the team is coming in averaging 79 minutes. That's just way too